Timeline of this is going to be really strange because I don't know when this video is actually going to be published. It may not be published until like way deep into 2023 or something. It's being recorded in October of 2022, which again might be really strange because this may not exist. Like this is going to be posted way after it's recorded. But let me explain what's going on right now. I've kind of divided up my like YouTube Let's Plays into these blocks. So you can call them anything I want to. I might call them seasons, although that sounds cheesy, but that's generally kind of what people call those kind of things. And I kind of have to start recording what I would call season 2 now. And not season 2. I misspoke. Season 3, right? It's whatever is going to have Remember 11 in it, and whatever I'm going to pair with Remember 11. The plan was for it to be like a Danganronpa fan game, but we'll see if that actually turns out. It has this really complication in it to it, very similar to the complication I'm having with the Xbox remake of whatever this game I'm playing right now is called. It's in the title of this video, Ever17. That's what it is. The reason why I started doing the Ever17 Xbox remake is because I was testing the OCR program, and in order to test the OCR program, I played a little ways into it, right? I played like a few minutes, and that kind of made me catch the bug and made me want to keep playing it. And because I wanted to record playing it when I was playing it, it made me record playing it. But I didn't know any Japanese, so I created this awkward system of recordings, or awkward set of recordings. And I've kind of changed my mind on that since then. I've thought, well, this is great and all, but I want to do better than this, so I want to have some knowledge of Japanese before I continue. Right? And a good stopping spot would be the stop of the first route I do. So the stop of the end of the Sora Route, I guess, would be a good place to stop. Which I'm nearing the end of. Which means that this might be the last recording I make on the Xbox remake for a while. So it's going to be like I recorded some episodes in September and not so much in September, maybe September and October of 2022, and then I just kind of sit on them. I don't know what I'm going to do necessarily. I'm not going to really pick up on it again until maybe a whole year after I've done with these. Maybe get some Japanese picked up until I continue. Because the bug has been a little bit less caught now. For some reason, I don't know. It's just like I'm reviewing a game that I've already played before, although it's significantly different than the original version I played. My curiosity has kind of been satisfied enough at this point, I feel. And so I can afford to take a break without having this burning desire messing with my head. And go record other things. And try to focus on Korean and kind of forget about Japanese for now. So with that in mind, that sort of sets up a quest of, well, let me scroll through this text here just to make sure that it's scrolling. Did it scroll in OBS? Yes, it did. Okay, good. I have to kind of think about how exactly I'm going to go about learning Japanese. And there's surprisingly little information out there about this, despite so many people doing it, based on how popular Japanese media is in the United States. I've of course messed around with Duolingo Japanese. The problem is that it doesn't explain anything. You might go, oh, you just need to go to the tip sections. Yes, the tip sections don't explain actually anything. I've messed around. I've done the Duolingo course for Korean, and at least before they updated the course, the tip sections for that actually explain some grammar. The Japanese one does not. It's structured a little bit better in that it kind of is very repetitive and very drilly, which is good for memorization, but I was like snapping my fingers but whatever. But not necessarily, but doesn't necessarily good actually like giving me the concepts. When it comes to Japanese, I found this website called howtostudykorean.com, where this Canadian guy who teaches science, I guess, in Korean high school, explains his process of learning Korean and actually has kind of very lengthy, drawn-out explanations of Korean grammar. And that's very useful. I haven't found something equivalent for Japanese. Now, so of course, how I started is I'll tell you where I went to school because that's not very identifiable information. Like, you can't really, you're not going to be able to track me down based on that. It was UC San Diego, or University of California, San Diego. Um, I'm the class of, well, it depends. If I was like an undergrad, I would say it was the class of 2019, and I had an extra year to do some grad school stuff, so it'd be 2020. I graduated 2020, which was a little over 2 years ago now, at the time of this recording. I went looked up what textbook they were using. I'm probably making a bunch of annoying noises in the background. I better avoid that because I tend to fidget. Um, First thing I did was go look at their Japanese courses and see what textbooks they were using. Um, and what they were using was a book called Yo Yo Okoso. Yo Okoso. An invitation to contemporary Japanese, and they actually used a custom print. So I've encountered that before with particularly with lower division physics classes, where they'll have those big, like, really everything really wide and shallow kind of thick lower division physics books, and then they'll ask the publisher to give them like only a specific set of chapters from those books that they're going to use for their specific class. For example, there was a class, they called it Physics 2C, um, where it was like this disjoint sections of the book, and they asked the publisher to print for them these pamphlets that were just those non-continuous chapters of this textbook, and it was called whatever the name of the textbook was. I forgot. I actually have it, but I still forget the name. For Physics 2C at UCSD, right? They have like a special print of Yo Koso they use. Um, so that's the first. That's um, something I know of. Another thing I know of is Ginki, and of course Ginki, you have to use the answer key for it because it doesn't come with one. That seems to be another go-to textbook that people use, but it has some flaws to it. It's not. It's kind of people don't like certain things about Ginki. And other things I happen to find was Japanese from Zero. The problem was with Japanese from Zero is that when I was reading reviews, is I figured out that it relies a lot on romanization. And for somebody who doesn't really care about pronouncing the Japanese, but only reading it, really, I need to have it see it written and then read it. It'd be sort of nice to learn how to type it because if I don't know something, I can type an individual word or something into Google Translate. But my primary purpose is to just be able to read it, written out in the native characters, in kana and kanji. And to me, romanizations are useless. I don't want to see romanizations anywhere. Um, so, bleh. Um, as far as like extension courses, like university courses that you can take if you're not enrolled, like UCSD Extension or something, I missed the boat on how to start that train for Japanese this year. If I were to take a course in it, which is helpful because although you can learn just as much as you can learn in the course outside the course gives me discipline, which helps me like keep at the learning, gives me a grade at the end. Um, so to me, courses are useful, otherwise I'll just procrastinate. So um, I have to wait till next year to start that. I don't really have a year to wait, so I don't know what to do there. But it's like an option for me. I'm like live in an area where I can, you know, look for those kind of things, and they're sometimes available. Okay, so this is the last recording before. It might be. There might be. It depends. It might take like 3 hours to get to the end of Sora's Route. I don't really have 3 hours. It can be surprisingly long. Um, Go through some of this. I don't know how far I got in this because it's been a while since I actually read it. Um, so I'm gonna start with Kick the Can because I don't remember if I read past Kick the Can. Um, yeah, I just don't remember where I read. I could have just watched the last video, but I didn't think of that because I'm lazy and I don't think of things. Um, I don't want to start from the beginning because I don't have time. Anyway, so okay, Tsugumi refuses to participate and invites Takeshi to also refuse. In the Xbox remake, Coco sort of convinces her to join, or Tsugumi has a soft spot for Coco or doesn't want to present herself negatively to Coco, so she says, oh, so she goes to participate, but in the room in which she's supposed to participate, she really doesn't. She just lies there and sleeps. And ordinarily, if you are the first person to be caught, you will be the Oni, or the It, the next time. But because Takeshi never he managed to catch everybody, he keeps being It, and so Tsugumi just managed to lay there and sleep right next to where the counting happens, and that's just it. Um, so in the original, the game takes place in the entirety of Dritte stock, and the remake it takes in one specific room, which is the virtual aquarium, the room with these mirage fish, these fake fish that swim around you, and I believe that's on Zweite stock, if I recall correctly. So it's not even on Dritte stock at all. Third point, okay, Takeshi steps on the can for everybody on second try, and the Oni passes to the kid. We then get the mysterious counter. What I mean by that is the kid's counting, and then the kid goes out to find everybody, but someone's still counting, and it's never figured out. It's never discovered who exactly was counting, and it's never meant to be discovered. There's just like no explanation for who was counting, unless you count something like Blinkwinkle or some other entity like Blinkwinkle that is not Blinkwinkle that Coco also knows. The person who, like the kicker person that appears in After They're Gone. Anyway, in the remake, Takeshi never manages to finish a round, and so this thing where the It passes to the kid, it does not happen, and he just stays the It the whole time. And this is just another one of the many ways in the remake they just beat up on Takeshi a lot more than they did in the original. Original, someone kicks the can at the end of round one after Takeshi thinks he's caught everybody, and it's never revealed who the can kicker is. PP could be an option. It's not necessarily not PP. However, it's never like nailed down that it is PP. So it could have been like Chammy, or it could have been again the mysterious kicker person that kicked somebody in After They're Gone in that lab or something. The same person who was counting Blinkwinkle. That doesn't make any sense because he's not physical in that world, but whatever. Could be anything, right? Whereas in the remake, they specify explicitly that it is PP that kicks the can after round one, which starts the round over. It restarts the round. Tsugumi's disaster and injury scene. In the original, the kid is not there, and the remake, the kid is there. The kid doesn't really have any effect on the scene. He doesn't do anything, really, but he's just there in the remake. And this may be to make more continuity between the two timelines, the 2034 and 2017 timelines, where in 2034, there's an option when you play as the kid in the original to have the kid be there. They might have made the kid there in the remake so that the kid is there both timelines to make the timelines more similar. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't played the kid side in the remake yet. In the original, Yu is absent from the scene. It isn't really clear what she's doing. You suspect that she's probably in the security office, like researching like her father, or just kind of messing around the computer system. She isn't present, right? And she's not present until Coco runs to go get her when Takeshi orders Coco to do so. In the remake, Yu was apparently on call in the control room, and when a disaster is coming, she does come on the intercom and say, "You better get out of there." So she's a little bit more involved. Also, in the original, Sora is absent after they go into the warehouse. She leads them, she kind of talks them up until they get to the warehouse, but then they go in and Sora doesn't really do anything after that. Whereas in the remake, Sora is giving Tsugumi directions on how to fix the pipes. And so she's like present there speaking the whole time. In the original, Tsugumi figures out how to fix the pipes on her own. Whether she does it correctly is unknown. There might not be a correct way to do it in that situation. They could have been doomed anyway. But she does, like, that line in the remake is imported from the original, where when the air conditioner backflows and the disaster happens, she says she messed up. Maybe I messed up, right? Which we're not sure. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me in the original because it was the air, completely different plumbing system. And the pipes collapsed were not a mistake in Tsugumi's repairs there because Takeshi knocked down a bunch of boxes which rammed into the pipes and made them collapse. It's maybe just Tsugumi being humble. Or fake humble. In the original, it's less clear how important fixing the pipe is. Like, Sora doesn't really know, but Tsugumi volunteers and just does it regardless. In the Xbox remake, Sora explicitly says, please fix it. This instability could bring the entire facility down. And we find out later that Sora believed that Tsugumi was a Lemu employee. And that's maybe why she kind of treated her that way. Like, this is your job, right? You're like the mate. Maybe she was the maintenance person. Please fix this as your job because there's consequences. Whereas in the original, there was no evidence that Sora ever thought that Tsugumi was ever a Lemu employee. In the original, the leak was in the warehouse. In the remake, it was in a special room dedicated to the pressure relieving pipes. The whatever you call it, the pipes that control the pressure inside the wall of the bulkhead. Pressure regulating pipes. And the background for the room was the same as the pipe room next to the generator room. And it wasn't supposed to be narratively, like in the text, the same room as the pipe room. However, it looked the same as the pipe room in the artwork because they didn't bother to make two separate backgrounds, one for the pipe room and one for the the generator pipe room, and other for the pressure regulating pipe room. Okay, in the original, Takeshi causes the pipes to rain down from the ceiling by knocking over a stack of boxes. There's some incident with the air conditioning unit. It spews a bunch of water out. Takeshi loses his balance. He grabs onto the boxes so he doesn't fall over. That brings all the boxes down and it causes the pipe disaster. In the remake, it isn't Takeshi's fault at all. Something suddenly happens that no one could anticipate and pipes rain down out of the ceiling. This is one of the few ways in which the original is less mean to Takeshi compared to the remake. Usually the remake is meaner to Takeshi, but this one it actually is like, we're not going to make it Takeshi's fault, that I ate too much before doing this recording, as usual. It's my signature thing now. I'm always like hiccuping during recordings or belching or burping or something because I always eat too much before recording. Don't worry, I'm skinny. They make this thing not Takeshi's fault. This is a unique. It's not very in character for the remake, but they decided to do that this time. In the original, Tsugumi pushes Coco out of the way of the falling debris, and Takeshi is just too far away. In the remake, Takeshi wraps himself around Coco as if his idea was for him to be a meat shield, like to shield Coco, and Tsugumi pushes them both out of the way in a bundle. So it's like Tsugumi also saves Takeshi as well as Coco in the remake. And the original, so in both of these, the artwork of Tsugumi being trapped under whatever metal she's trapped under showed a pole stabbed through her thigh, right? And behind that pole there was an I-beam falling down. In the original, they made it all about Takeshi having to lift that I-beam off of Tsugumi, and they made some physics out of it. Like, he couldn't do it at first, but then when the water level rose above the I-beam, it made it more like it could be lifted, and so because, it lost weight by its volume in water, and then he could lift it. However, it does make the artwork make a little less sense because the artwork has this pole stabbed into her leg, which you don't really hear about any in the text. Whereas the remake, it's like they looked at that artwork and they go, "Oh, this artwork, which doesn't really match the text. Bleh, I can't say text. The text doesn't. This gives us an idea. Let's make the text more like the artwork." And they made it so that it's all about the pole being skewered into Tsugumi's thigh, and because of that, they make Takeshi have to wiggle the pole back and forth trying to get it out, and he's wiggling it back and forth on the broken ends of Tsugumi's bones, and it hurts. Yes. It also spends a lot more time in dialogue and makes the process more protracted. So, in the original, there's a bunch of words that Tsugumi says in the pipe room, the generator pipe room, when she's going to give nuts to Chami, who's in there somewhere, when Tsugumi's supposed to be in bed. And this is what lures Tsugumi out of bed and reveals that she's recovered from her injury. These words, where she's like insists that Takeshi is not her friend, or as one of the commenters corrected, not her comrade, or not someone with the same purpose. Which is true, actually. She doesn't actually have exactly the same purpose, but isn't clear what she means at the time. Because she's vague, right? She doesn't want to say what her purpose is. She says, I don't have the same purpose as you, and then just doesn't say what that is. And they don't have as many words at that point in the Xbox remake, but they kind of bring them back to when Tsugumi is under the pressure, right? She says, I don't have any friends. I never had, and I never will have any. Next one. In the original, Yu anticipates having to sew Tsugumi up by hand. And this is actually foreshadowed by how she talks about she was out hiking and she cut her finger and she sewed her finger up by hand. But she said that Tsugumi didn't even need sutures, meaning that she was all ready to do it, but then Tsugumi's wound just healed up before Yu's eyes in front, just automatically. However, this is confusing because when you look at her scar in Jellyfish Gondola Scene 1 in Tsugumi's route, I think Takeshi actually describes it as looking like it had been stitched up. So that's kind of contradictory, but whatever. In the Xbox remake, they actually have a machine to do the surgery, and Yu just runs the machine, and they don't have any of that stuff about how Tsugumi needs stitches or not. The machine just did what it needed to do, and we don't know what that was. So it's unclear if it's like the original or not. But if you were to read the Xbox remake by itself, without reading the original first, when you learn that Yu told Takeshi that Tsugumi didn't even need sutures, then you would assume that the machine just did it and stitched her up. Whether that she needed it or not. Tsugumi was stitched up by the machine. Or because it's a machine and it's high-tech and sci-fi, maybe use some special surgical glue. It did it in some way to minimize the scarring or something. Although I think the scarring is going to have to be there because it's an object lesson in the Tsugumi route. But I haven't played the Tsugumi route yet, so I don't know. The original Tsugumi smashes the medical computer and also knocks out herself a bunch of sensors in the infirmary. When Sora first tries to talk to the others in the infirmary, she has a hard time locating where they are because her sensory equipment has all been, some of it's been destroyed by Tsugumi. It apparently recovers over time somehow. This is a typo. In the original, Sora also has a hard time in the infirmary. She has to appear on the monitor. And Tsugumi also smashes some equipment. She just smashes the screen of the computer, not the computer itself, and just unplugs the computer. It's not like the original where she literally smashes the computer itself. But the reason why Sora has a hard time talking to the people in the infirmary is not because Tsugumi destroyed more sensors. It's because someone's actually, we find out later, trying to hack into Sora from the outside, and Sora's having some difficulty, which whatever manifests itself in whatever is convenient for the plot at the time. So it's like Sora also has trouble, but it's for a completely different reason. They lessen the vandalism that Tsugumi does, essentially. In the original, Tsugumi goes to the pipe room. In the remake, Tsugumi doesn't go to the pipe room because the pipe room isn't available where they were, so she goes to the water purification plant. Something to note, though, is that in the original that Tsugumi says that, or thinks that he hears something that sounds like nuts falling, and then after that, Tsugumi is like, phew, right? It's like, I've delivered the nuts. The nuts, as in like tree nuts, not like nuts and bolts nuts, aren't mentioned like that in the remake. There is like, Tsugumi is walking around a specific way to sort of try to stay in between Takeshi and something until something happens, and then she's like, phew. Right? It's like Chami leaves and Takeshi doesn't see Chami, I guess was the whole thing. But it doesn't mention nuts. Not that really a big deal. Chami eating nuts comes up later, so it's not like that's different or anything, but just a subtle dialogue change. Tsugumi tells Takeshi, I am not your friend. Literally like that in the pipe room. In the original, and not in the original, in the Xbox remake, that's not there. Perhaps because similar statements were already added in the injury scene. As I said before, we're talking about the injury scene. Okay. In the original, Tsugumi, after a long leg blunder, which happens in both versions, seems to continue a feeble attempt to pretend to still be injured. So in the original, she goes back to bed. The artwork somehow shows her putting her IV back in and putting her cast back on, which you can't really put the cast back on, so it's kind of like just like a reuse of the artwork, but it doesn't make any sense. And when she walks back to the infirmary, she does it like out of view of everybody. So they don't see her just walking. Right. Now, when day 4 comes around, she basically stops pretending to be injured. And the other characters don't comment on this. There's sort of this weird, like, side-eye, like, we kind of all kind of recognize to each other, kind of communicate non-verbally to each other, we know there's something up with Tsugumi. Because when you talk to Takeshi, she says, I think I know what Tsugumi has, right? It's not like she expects Takeshi to already think that Tsugumi has something. She already knows that Takeshi thinks something's up, right? But they don't comment. They don't say anything. There's just kind of this elephant in the room, not spoken about. In the remake, Tsugumi just walks back from the water purification plant in plain view of everyone, just walking. And everyone's just like, wow, I guess she's better now. And they comment on it. And they consider it a miraculous recovery. I don't know how to explain it, but they just accept it. But it's actually commented on, and it's actually just gotten out of the way much sooner. It's not like lingered on. And the original Tsugumi asks Sora, do you know about my past? This is this is on day 4. And Sora says she does not. But we know that Sora can lie, despite her saying she's not good at it. Sora is implied to know about Kyurei, so she could guess that about Tsugumi. And I go, what is the implication that Sora knows about Kyurei? I actually forgot what it is right now. We should have written down why that's the case. It's not directly, it's like directly stated, it's an implication that Sora probably knew. I forgot what it was. Huh. I'm thinking that Sora. I forgot how to explain that. I completely forgot why. If it comes to me, I'll say like why it's implied that Sora knew about Kyurei syndrome. Like why? When I remember why. Um, and the original question, this doesn't happen. It's not recorded. But kind of as a substitute, though, Sora thinks that Sora thought that Tsugumi was a Lemu employee, but then she looks at her name up in the database and finds out that unless she's lying about her name, she's actually not a Lemu employee, and that surprises Sora. Okay. My throat got all dry. Next. In the original, the characters just don't know why Tsugumi is in Lemu, and how she knows so much about it. The first two get answered, right? Um, the third never. Why characters don't know who Tsugumi is, why she's in Lamu, and how she knows so much about it. Right. We know who she is. We know why she's in Lamu. She's trying to get to IBF. We never learned out why she knows so much about Lamu. But they don't really, like, Takeshi tries to ask her once, but she doesn't answer. But they don't really, it's not stated that they think that Tsugumi is a Lamu employee. And so, because it's not stated, you wouldn't really think so. It's left to the reader to maybe speculate that, because, like, Tsugumi tells Takeshi, right, in the elevator, this elevator is for employees only, right? So, she tried to put up that front at some point if you make a certain choice. And the Xbox remake, the characters all assume that Tsugumi is a Lamu employee explicitly until Sora finds out otherwise. It's something I don't like about the remake is how they decide to nail that down. It's like, that's okay not being nailed down. In the original, the characters don't comment on why Takeshi was slapped very specifically. Sora comments vaguely, right? She has something, she's dealing with something, and just give her some space, right? It's not as explicit as the original, where the remake, like the mix-up remake, where Sora says that Takeshi Tsugumi has some sort of extenuating circumstance you don't understand. There's even more specific language in the remake. And then Sora prepares a compress for Takeshi's face. So because Sora doesn't have any hands and can't do things on her own, there's an implication that you helped with that. So basically, they try to help take care of him, so to speak, after he gets slapped. In contrast, the Xbox remake, they bully him over it. You generally is just mean in the Xbox remake, just in general. And by the time you get to the end of Sora's Route, you just start to hate her. You don't really hate you in the original. Yes, that invites a certain profane pun I'm not going to say. So in the original, the Cosmic Whale Room is a fair ride. It's an amusement ride where this undulating whale-shaped thing, and you just sit on it and it bobs up and down, right? It's located in the area that you can only get to via the AI elevator, by the generator room and the generator pipe room. Whereas in the remake, it's a submarine that you can use to explore the ocean with. Some way overblown, and it's on Drite stock still, but it's continuous with most of Drite stock. It's not in that isolated part that you can only get to with the AI elevator. In the original, the gift shop, the dolphin carousel, the jellyfish gondola are all on Zvite stock, and are accessible from the beginning. And important scenes start happening in them from the beginning. There's a typo here. So they're there, and scenes happen in them. In the remake, the gift shop, the dolphin carousel, and jellyfish gondola are all pushed down to Drite stock. And they're only accessible after the afternoon of day 4. Right, so I'm going to pause the encoding for a bit here, because I have to rework my throat and my digestion, and then I'll get back to this. Okay, continuing. In the afternoon of day 4, in the original, Takeshi eats a hot dog after making dinner, and then swims for Chami. Or wants to, but does not, by being stopped by Tsugumi with a punch, depending on your route. He throws up the hot dog one way or another. In the remake, I don't know what happens in Tsugumi's route, but in Sora's route, the swimming for Chami seems to happen, and it is done by Tsugumi, which is also done in Sora's route in the original, but it all happens mostly off-screen. Takeshi doesn't come into the scene until afterwards, where Tsugumi's already soaking wet, and has a hard time catching Chami, after the swimming part, which I presume happened off-screen. But then he grabs Chami himself in a similar way to the original, but in the hallways of the pipe room. And he has to babysit Chami for a few minutes afterwards. as sort of a substitute for the swimming that he has to go through, that he would have gone through to get Chami, though. And he has to swim through some purified water to get past some electrical leak, as they would say, to turn on a pump so they can get down to Drite stock. It's a scene that happens in the remake, but not the original. About the same time as swimming for Chami happens. However, that would have to happen in both routes, because they have to get down to Drite stock in both routes, you would think. And so, and if he does swim for Chami in the Tsugumi's route, which I haven't played, I'm just guessing, you have to do underwater swimming twice. That's intense. The original, the first jellyfish gondola scene happens at the wee hours in the morning, 3:45 a.m. on day 5. In the Xbox remake, it happens on the afternoon of day 5. After the party and the statue carving. Of course, it happens in the Sora's route. I don't know if it's moved forward in Tsugumi's route. Another thing to note about Chami is that so Tsugumi says it's not a rat. He's not a rat. He's a Zongarian hamster. And Takeshi says, "Oh, Tsugumi is he? Oh, he's a Tsugumi. Whatever it's called. Zongarian hamster, huh?" And Tsugumi's like, "Well, I think so." Right? It's like they leave open this possibility that Chami is actually straight up a rat. And Tsugumi kind of knows he's not a hamster, and just kind of hopes he has this wishful thinking that he's a hamster, and she's basically just carrying around a rat. However, in the remake, I will say, though, that the artwork of Chami, which there is a piece of artwork of Chami, in that he looks like a hamster, not a rat. So the artwork seems to show him being a hamster. In the remake, explicitly says that he moved slower than Takeshi would expect him to move, and he had no tail, implying that Chami is most definitely a Tsungarian hamster, is not a rat, strictly, explicitly, which I kind of disapprove of, but whatever. You telling the story of Pygmalion happens. It just happens. In the remake, that's actually mixed in with some other things. You talks about the 4 Fs, which because the poor translating, I couldn't really tell what they were. I tended to assume that they were fighting, fleeing, feeding, and effing. But I don't know for sure because it didn't really translate well. Because, that 4th F isn't really necessary for survival. They're couched as the 4 Fs of survival. I guess you gotta be survival of your genes, maybe. And another thing I didn't actually put in this table, but because I forgot about it, was just to say, in the original there are 4 statues. In the remake there are 3. And Yu has the story about the statue saying that they're the Lemurian goddesses of fate, which does not happen in the original. Next. On breakfast of day 5, in the original, the kid breaks down and says it wants to give up. It does not want to live anymore. As Takeshi, you have the option to hit him if you want, and then Tsugumi confronts him afterward and is like, "Do you want to live or do you want to die? Tell me, do you want to live or do you want to die?" And the kid breaks down crying and whatnot. In the remake, a similar scene happens, but it doesn't happen after breakfast. It happens later. It happens after the party. And the kid isn't breaking down in that dramatic way. He just says he's worried that he's going to be alone after they get out of Lemu because he doesn't have any memories of anybody. Right? So it's kind of like almost like he doesn't want to escape because there's nowhere to escape to for him, essentially. And it's much more mild. You don't get to hit the kid and so on. I said it's kind of a mirror of Tsugumi because Tsugumi is also alone for different reasons. They're kind of like both alone for different reasons. Tsugumi doesn't really have anywhere to go after Lemu either because she decided to make this goal to go to IBF, and I don't know if she really planned out what she's going to do after that. Okay, the original Tsugumi argues with Sora right after the party about the existence of IBF. In the remake, she does it on the morning of day 6, like 12 hours later almost, or about. So that's pushed back quite a bit. In the original, Sora says that they should go to IBF to find more orange serum and a hyperbaric chamber. Hyperbaric is not in LibreOffice Writer's vocabulary list, so that's not a typo. I don't think that is it's just a word not in their dictionary. There are already 2 ampules in the infirmary, or 1 ampule. I actually forgot. Might have been 1. I don't know why I said 2 here. But they go down to IBF to find more ampules in the hyperbaric chamber, which Sora says is down there. In the remake, Sora says they're down there to find a vaccine, which she thinks is likely that it had been developed because, along with Tsugumi and Yu thinking this, because if they were developing a bioweapon down there, then they would also want to develop something that would protect their own people from their own weapon that they were using. This is a true typo here. And they go down looking specifically for a vaccine for Deep Blue. Now, how vaccines work is if you already have like a case of it, it doesn't help you. It just gives you something else for your immune system to fight, and your immune system hasn't figured out how to create the antibodies quite yet, but it's already started working on it. So if you give them a vaccine, well, the body's already started working on the antibodies, so it doesn't speed up the timetable. It just kind of does nothing, essentially. In fact, although it would probably be subtle, it would probably do some harm because your immune system gets distracted by the vaccine as opposed to what it's supposed to be fighting. You're supposed to administer a vaccine before, as a preventative measure, of course. Vaccines are preventative things. They're not cures. They don't do anything once you already have it, right? But whatever. Anecdote would be a better word to use. Although you wouldn't usually say anecdote to a virus. Maybe you could say like therapeutic or something. That's what they were looking for, though. And when they get down there, they find they go into IBS computer system, or they use the LMU-ARE, and it says that we don't have a cure, we don't have a vaccine, but you should use the ampule, and you should use the hyperbaric chamber. And so it's the computer system at IBF that suggests those things. And that's when they find the orange ampules, and they use the hyperbaric chamber. In the original, Sora argues that IBF does not exist. So when Tsugumi and Sora are arguing, Sora said there is no such place. Which, yes, this is a specific example of Sora lying. So to answer the question, does Sora lie? The answer is yes. That's because Sora cannot reveal, has this kind of feels like she's morally obligated to not reveal classified proprietary information from Lieblich, or information Lieblich wants to keep secret, and that's programmed into her. Now she can break that if she can overcome it, because circumstances are so bad, but she's very resistant to doing so. It's kind of a soft limit, right? In the remake, Sora's limits have all been busted open by this point, completely. She has no limits, but what she's telling, she doesn't deny IBF exists, but she tells Tsugumi you shouldn't go down there because it's dangerous. But she doesn't tell Tsugumi why it's dangerous. So she makes it a safety issue as opposed to an issue of existence. And in this way, she is still not lying. She's withholding some important information, but unlike in the original, she's not lying this time. And once Coco has Deep Blue, it's not like a compassion thing, like it's like, oh no, and that overrides it. It's like now it's a practical thing. Coco already has the disease, so the others probably also already have it as well. So really, it's kind of like, what's the point in preventing them from going down there at this point, right? Next, the original Himmel door is there from the start of the game, and it's mysterious there the entire time. It has kind of this hexagonal shape. It has Himmel written across the middle. It's kind of an iconic looking door. The remake, they make it such that the Himmel door is not accessible until they get down to Dritte stock, which is only until day 4. and it's hidden by mirage anyway, so I don't even see it until Sora gives the green light to go there. And when they finally do see the door, it still doesn't have the iconic look of the original Himmel door. The word Himmel is not written on the center of the door, it's written off the door, like in the upper left corner, and it's small. So they redesigned the Himmel door for some reason. So you lose that perpetual mystery of the Himmel door from the start thing. Next, in the original, Sugumi couches going down to IBF as finding a way out. In other words, when she's talking to the other character, she says, "I'm gonna go. I think I know of a way out. I'm gonna go talk to Sora in private about it." Recall that in the original, there was no method to escape. There was no escape pods. The Cosmic Whale was not a submarine, and there was no Jonathan, the backup submarine. So they basically were just sitting there waiting for someone to come rescue them. They had no plan, no ideas on how to get out. There's no goal they were working towards. And Tsugumi's like, well, maybe we can get out somehow through IBF. Of course, she didn't really want to go down to IBF to get out. She had ulterior motives, but she couched it that way. IBF as a way out, and wanted to convince Sora to let them go down there as like letting them out, escaping from Lamu. She only tells everyone that she intends to go down to IBF for a different reason, which was to confront the people at Leiblich about Cure and stuff in her own route. And once they already get down to IBF, she says, like, okay, I finally got down here, but everybody's dead already. She's crying, right? In the Xbox remake, from the start, like, well, she says she wants to go down. I don't know why she wants to go down to IBF. Tells Sora she wants to go down to IBF, but she tells the characters, my goal was to get to IBF anyway. That was what I was trying to do anyway. That's why I was here in the first place, right? So I want to go down. I'm trying to build a team to go down to IBF with Coco. I'm going to go too because that's what I was trying to do anyway. So she reveals that from the start, right? Now, I always saw the Sora version of this might be different than the Sugumi version, I'm not sure. It doesn't have Machina in the dictionary. So, in the original, the Himmel door, when they get to it, is locked, and you have to click on different characters and ask them if they got any ideas about how to unlock it. And then it gets unlocked from the inside as a Machina by Yoiki, who's inside the Himmel room. And when they get there, Yoiki's in too bad a shape to actually explain anything. So we don't know what Yoiki, they didn't figure out what Yoiki was doing right away. And so they just kind of dragged Yoiki back down to IBF with them to put him in a hyperbaric chamber too, which they already knew about. In the remake, they find the Himmel door unlocked, but they don't know why it's unlocked. Yoiki isn't right there behind the Himmel door. He's actually still all the way down in IBF. So who unlocked the door and why all that stuff is still unknown, at least to me. That might be revealed later as I continue playing through the game. I said there is no evidence as of yet that Yoiki had gone up to Himmel yet, but it cannot be ruled that he was up there at some point and unlocked the door. Okay, kind of awkward since there's two yets. First of all is that, like, I haven't found the evidence yet, and the other is that it cannot be ruled out yet, that whatever. That is that Yoiki didn't go to Himmel yet. Sorry, it was like a meta yet, it wasn't an in-game yet. And Himmel is later revealed, I think it's in Tsugumi's route and Banished from Heaven, that what Yoiki was actually doing in Himmel was he was copying Sora's memories onto a disc. And I think in the Tsugumi route, not the Sora route, Tsugumi route, they just grab this disc on the way back before they go back down to IBF. In the Sora route, it's unclear what happens to this disc because Takeshi copies another disc. I don't remember if Takeshi pulls out a disc that's already there before he puts his disc in. In the remake, this is something else to get the translation made it kind of get messed up, and I don't really know if I completely get it because of bad translating. But as far as I think what it was supposed to is that Yoiki, there's no evidence he went up to Himmel, but he could have. There's just no evidence of it. He spent all week trying to create and succeeded is seeding it's going to appear, to make a program that can copy Sora's memories in a way that's forwards compatible with new systems. And he developed this program on the computer system at IBF where Sora isn't there. And then he gave instructions to you when Tsugumi and Takeshi were out looking around IBF to put that program on a disk. Then they would go up to Himmel, put the disk in there, and then the program on the disk would run, which would copy Sora's files. So he didn't actually get to the copying part, but he did see to complete, he did complete the program. And they put a lot more emphasis in the remake on how that's actually a word, by the way, impish. I was at a jazz festival, and one of the judges was like giving feedback afterwards. Um, there we go. Emphasis. I remember how to spell it. Just my brain blank sometimes. I was at a jazz festival, and the one of the judges say we were playing this piece called Dat Dare, and one of the judges said you should play this more like impish, like Putapa dupita, putapa dupita, dupa dupa dupi, dupa dutapa dupi. So apparently, impish means Budapa dupita. Anyway, that's the only context I've heard the word impish. That was a weird side tangent. Um, they put more emphasis on how Sora's like memories are like a file type. I guess is some analogy you could make. It's hard. You can't really be read on any systems besides her own, right? And so it's difficult to. You have to forward port her, and that's difficult. But then Yoichi's the one who does that work to make that happen. They don't really dwell on that point at all in the original. Okay. So in the original, I don't remember this quite well, but I recall that Scooby and Takeshi fight a text conversation between somebody and somebody else, and in that conversation, somebody says that YT's daughter is coming to Lemu, right? Whereas in the Xbox remake, the hints are a little bit different, as in YT is the researcher's name tag, which is not mentioned in the original, and there's a picture of the young researcher holding a blonde-haired kid. In the control room of IBF, which Yu looks at and cries, right? So there are hints that the researcher is Yu's father in the original, but it's possible that you could mistake him for Coco's father if you wanted to. There's a little bit of a double entendre too, where his daughter is not only Yu but also Sora, so they kind of makes it kind of confusing. In the Xbox remake, it may be an illusion because I'm already anticipating the researcher being Yu's father. I already know that, so you see the hints better. But it seems like it's being much more overt about it. So in the next thing, in the original, they when the characters get to IBF, oh, entendre for some reason is not a word that is in LibreOffice Writer's Dictionary as well. When the characters get to IBF, there's some panic and some time spent trying to find the orange ampules. And eventually, PP finds them. In the remake, they don't have that suspense. Some PP just finds them right away. They don't spend a whole lot of time trying to find them. Next point. In the original, I do not exactly remember how Yu's fear of injection was resolved. Yeah, I don't remember. I think you injected herself in the end, but I don't remember exactly how it happens. What I do remember, though, is that I was kind of screaming at the game, like, why doesn't Tsugumi do it? And Xbox, yay, Tsugumi does it. It's kind of unsatisfying because at that point, you sort of hate you, and you want her to get stabbed mercilessly, and Tsugumi apparently does it really well. So, just kind of like a comment on that. I've gotten 3 COVID injection shots. I've also gotten a tetanus shot recently. You can judge me for that. There's some reasons why someone in my demographic it's a really bad idea to get COVID shots. But anyway, and some people are like trying to praise me for that. And I don't. This is politics stupidness. Um, but I did it for certain reasons involving music and stuff. So um, when I got the COVID shots and the tetanus shot from like male nurses, um, like you barely felt anything. In fact, when I got the tetanus shot, like it was like no, I didn't even feel the needle. Like it was nothing. Like the needle was, it just the stuff got in me, but I didn't feel anything. Right. The one time I got COVID injected from a woman, ow. So, in my like limited experience of getting injected with things, it seems to me that like I have this correlation between it hurts less to get injected by a man, which kind of correlates here because like you as a more feminine woman and it's Tsugumi and she's like injects hard, it's like you're a man, you can take it. Um, you want it to get back at you. You want you to get injected just horribly, and she doesn't. But it's that whole, it's the whole Japanese sexist joke thing, which I know it's supposed to be a joke. That whole like you're a man, you can take it thing, but I have a hard time taking it like a joke. It doesn't really go over well with me. I have a hard time with those jokes. Okay, just to be clear, guys don't are not designed to get abused. Okay. Sora's Route specific stuff. So you have the differences between the first jellyfish gondola scene between the two. Um, this is where we get into like the whatever you want to call this. I can't think of the words I want to use here. So in the original, there are some phrases. My memory is kind of fuzzy on this. So this is kind of a paraphrase that you see at the end of the Sora version of the first jellyfish gondola scene. Like, I think two shadows. Wow, I can't spell two. I don't know why. Two shadows merged and became one. I think actually happens in the original. I believe that line is there. I also have a feeling of craziness. I can't spell that either. Came over me in Takeshi's inner monologue. Also, if you look at the summary of that scene in the scene summaries, which you haven't seen in any of my Let's Plays yet, I might actually go in there on my final part, which I haven't recorded yet. It says Takeshi acted crazily. And go crazy, of course, is an idiom for doing the thing, right? They also have the line, nothing could be heard besides the rustling of clothing, which does not say explicitly that they strip. It could just mean that they're like hugging and it's like the clothing's rubbing around and it's rustling, right? However, it implies it. Because they didn't have to, that's like a weird like imagery thing. It could be just imagery, but it heavily implies they strip. Like that's what you would kind of think when if you read that, right? Also, the scene ends with ellipses of various lengths. You got da 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 da. It kind of gives that panning out the window sort of feel. And lastly, Tsugumi forces a kiss on Takeshi, and then her blood runs into Takeshi's mouth. Then, after the scene happens, Sora says she saw everything that happened, and she got extremely jealous to the point in which she wants to kill Takeshi and kill Tsugumi. Right, and so all of these things combined have this implication that in the original, they did it, right? That's how you would interpret it. By the time we got to the end of the game in the original, that's how I thought. I thought, okay, in both routes, they do it. That's what it says. And even though I didn't necessarily ingest that at the time of reading, it's kind of funny, like, watching it back, like, me watching the scene, because it's like I was, like, in denial of what I was reading. But then I, like afterwards I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that was they were doing it in that scene. In the Xbox remake, a lot of these lines are missing. So the two shadows merged and became one is in there. That line is in there. But nothing about craziness, nothing about clothes rattling, no ellipses, no kiss being forced, nothing. And Sora does say afterwards, I may not be able to give you what Tsugumi can. But that might be just to make that scene compatible without a rewrite with the Tsugumi route. Right? Because it seems like that scene, the replacement for the jealousy, which we'll get to later, has to happen in both routes for the narrative to work, and so they might have to make it go in the other route. I don't know because I haven't played the Tsugumi route. But she doesn't get jealous in the same way. And so you the implication is that they didn't do it. They just could have hugged for a few minutes. So, yeah, they made it a little bit less edgy. Or a lot less edgy. There's also subtle changes to that scene besides that, but that's the big one. Like, they don't have the whole spiel about cutting fingernails at the beginning. It's like way more, less poetic and way more dumbed down and simple. So in the original, Sora has these incomplete restrictions on her behavior. Like, it's almost like a moral code, but it's like she could still break it if she really had enough motivation. For example, she's like instructed sort of to not make multiple copies of herself because it's supposed to be like she's a person. But if she really wants to, she can. It's not a super hard restriction. Also, she seems to be instructed not to reveal like information that Lieblich doesn't want to reveal, like the existence of IBF. But if pressed enough, she eventually will. Right? It's not a hard restriction, it's just a very firm restriction. In the Xbox remake, these restrictions are more hard. So she absolutely cannot copy herself. And she just reskins some fish to make it kind of look like she's copying herself, but she can't. And if she tried to reveal information that was behind a restriction wall, she would freeze. She just straight up couldn't do it. Now, I think it's like day 5 or something, in the substitute for the jealousy scene, she somehow does some old school Curé anime baloney stuff, and by sheer force of will breaks off all the restrictions on her. Although we haven't seen her make multiple copies using that. But she breaks off that restriction, then she can reveal all the information she wants. But before that happens, she's hard restricted. It's a little bit different. Okay. So the original Sora Route scenes. First off, it starts with Sora giving Takeshi a lecture about 4D, branching timelines, and she uses like her cloning herself as an illustration. And she points out that his decision just now to go to watch her lecture was a big branch point decision, implying that she can see different timelines, which may be why she can remember things from other timelines. She kind of has this power that's not really expanded on, but it's implied that's there in this one scene. It's kind of interesting. Again, I don't remember why it was implied she would have known about Curé, though. But she would have known things from other timelines. Then on the morning of day 4, Takeshi gives Sora a lecture on how to be a 24-year-old woman, which is kind of goofy. This happens in the conference room, and this temporarily changes Sora's personality. And then Yu's like, who did this? Toradar, did you do this? And then it just says, due to the protest, Sora changes back to her old personality. In the evening of day 4, they have the scene in the gift shop with the makeup and the touching through the glass thing. And then on the morning of day 5, after maintenance, she gets jealous and starts to kill Takeshi, starts to drown him in a corridor, just like the remake. But her safety mechanism says, you're broken, you're thinking irrationally, you want to have a physical relationship with Takeshi, but you can't because you're not physical, so we're just going to fix this problem, we're going to just delete your memories of certain memories of Takeshi and what Takeshi did. And then that saves Takeshi because she doesn't want to drown him anymore. And it's kind of a tragic scene because Sora's memories get lost. Now, Liu says later that Sora cannot necessarily can't straight up delete her memories, she can only de-index them. which is kind of what a computer does. If you delete something in a computer, it doesn't like wipe out, it doesn't write over that. It just deletes the pointer. And then if you were to fill up that drive that it's stored on, it will eventually write over it. That's why if you have a hard disk drive or an HDD that crashes, it's possible to maybe to recover some of the files from it. For someone who has tools that can do that. And you can also recover things that have been deleted, even if they've been cycle bins, but it was emptied them. Maybe it's hard because the files are fragmented. They're stored different places around the disk, which makes things complicated. But if you don't write over the files by filling up the disk, it's possible to like dig in and recover things that have been deleted supposedly. It's something that the FBI can do. And I left the in out of conversation over here. Anyway. Which that implies that the android Sora that we see at the end of the original might actually contain memories from, like, be able to recall things from multiple timelines, and also is able to recall things that she previously had deleted. And so the memories are not actually lost permanently. But anyway. Yeah, Sora's like, I want him to hold me. I want him to kiss me. Right. This is the remake version is quite different. So in place of the 4D lecture, Sora tells Takeshi, this is a capital T, sorry for the disrespect, Kurinari, that she thinks this scene I had a hard time translating right. So I might get this kind of wrong because this scene was hard to translate. But she thinks that there are alternate universes, and she thinks she might be able to explore them, but because of her human restriction protocol, she can't. And she tries to use string theory to justify the idea, right? Which Yu does later as well. Which came out as pimp theory because translating Japanese, the machine translator. But she somehow thinks that Takeshi may be able to break open her restriction. Which is weird because Takeshi's a human, and it's her human being-like restrictions that are preventing her from being what she wants to be. But that's kind of like the deal. But it kind of makes sense foreshadowing-wise because Takeshi cheerleads at her, and this kind of somehow allows Sora, if she just believes she can, throw off her restrictions eventually. And then they have a conversation on day 4 about communication, which is just having a conversation. Which doesn't really go very far. And then I think it's the evening of day 4. Sora finds something. She finds a high school visual novel, stereotypical Japanese visual novel with high school kids. And she wants to duplicate that using Mirage with Takeshi. And Takeshi really doesn't get a chance to really participate in it much, because he doesn't get a chance to say a lot of lines. He's kind of caught off guard and confused by it. But it's kind of funny. And then later on, I forgot when, Takeshi and Sora go on a date, so to speak, where they go to the Jellyfish Gondola, they go to the Lemurian Ruin, they go to the Carousel Dauphine, they reuse that artwork for the Carousel Dauphine, but they don't do the whole conversation about love, though. That just doesn't happen in the remake. And then they end off in the gift shop, where they have a scene in the gift shop with the makeup and hands that's very similar to the one that's not exactly the same in wording, but very similar to the one in the original. It ends off on a similar scene. Then the whole jealousy scene doesn't happen. Sora tries to kill Takeshi for different reasons because she's been hacked into, presumably by somebody from Lieblich, giving her, basically, tried to use her to kill Takeshi. And then she somehow throws off the hacker using anime stuff. Okay. Ready to play the game? How long was that? Man, that was like an hour. Holy moly. Okay. I'm going to turn this off. Let me try to load the game in here and see how well that works. We're going to actually, because this is probably the last might be the last recording, but might not be. I'm going to let the opener play again, which we've seen a lot of the opener, but whatever. Okay, it's going, but you can't see it on OBS because OBS has this latency where it doesn't start grabbing it right away. See if it eventually grabs it. Still not grabbing. Let me redo the scene. I always skip the music. Okay, I gotta reload it because that was a mess. Okay. That did not work out. Oh, because I don't have the right scene open. Okay, let me try again. Okay. That was funny. Yeah, Xenia is famous for being really crashy. This is not just a me problem, it's just a very crashy program. I skipped it anyway, but I'm gonna unskip it. I had the DS capture thing up front in my as my source. Not Xenia. It's funny. There we go. Oh, good music. Okay. Again, I don't know if the MIDI music gets you on the copyright. Okay. That's the end of a page. That was confusing. Yes. Then I have to start up the OCR. I usually have pre-started, but I didn't do it this time because I was doing like document stuff. Start it out. And oops. That was a mistake. Okay. There's a little plug. There we go. And I'm making sure I have deep L going, and I'm dragging it to the other window. And then I have to find the translator box thingy, which is hard to find sometimes. Yeah, this thing. Where is it? Where'd it go? Electron quick start. Oh, there it is. Okay. Then I load my discriminator settings. Okay. Then I hit translate and see if it goes. Okay, it's a little sensitive. Completely remove that mo, because all the fuzz. Let me try this. I still need to adjust this. That's better. Okay. I looked at the monitor on the pillar, right? And I presume that this is mo, ni, ta. Yeah, what we have to do is we have to have like Tsugumi inject herself so that she kind of fakes needing to be injected, and then we go copy Sora and die. That's what I presume is going to happen before we get to the end here. My window wasn't big enough to capture all of it. That's a hard line, apparently. Tsugumi comes to my side and looks at the monitor. I think we're in a lull. What does she mean by that? She means we're like in an impasse. We don't have anything we can do. Lull is an interesting translation. According to the monitor, there were 4 hours left until Coco is ready to leave the pod. So yes, that is 4 hours, it appears. Wait, 4 hours? Wait. Whoa. Okay, I didn't realize it was that long. Okay. The pod is filled with oxygen at high pressure. We won't be able to get Coco out of that place until the time comes. The boy is sitting with Coco in her capsule. Is that just a cough noise? Go-ho. Oh yeah, I guess it's a cough noise. Big boy coughed. After all, the ampule may only be a comfort.
少年もポットに入ってもらった方がいいんじゃない？
Shouldn't the boy be in a pod too?
嫌だよ。僕はココのそばにいたいんだ。
I want to be near Coco. Boku, okay. The problem is that, well, Takeshi should also be on a pod, and you should also be in a pod. The problem is there's only 3 pods, and one of them is filled with blood. I guess you'd still use it. You put Takeshi in the bloody one, or you in the bloody one, because he's you. But that still leaves one person who needs a pod that doesn't have a pod. Because you need 4 pods, really. Kid is the first to die, I believe. Yeah, that's right. No, let's keep it ratioed. Which, keep it stopped, right? Considering the time limit of collapse, the time the boy can get out of the pod is... try to hit the translate button again. If I remember my katakana is a ta-i-mu. Is this O? Ah. Okay, O. This is fa, but it's ba. Time O ba. I forget what this one is. I know it's an ah one, though. I know what the... It's not ka, because I know what that one looks like. This is ta, so it's da. Probably some Japanese expression, I don't know. Whoops, I quick saved. Which doesn't work. Now we can't move Coco for another 4 hours, and I'll clean up. Basically, I'll back up Sora in that time. I have a hard time figuring out if it's supposed to be like empty backup or a backup of Sora, because that kanji means this both of those things, right? It means sky and empty, which kind of makes sense because sky is kind of like an empty thing. I think, and look at the desk where I put the terabyte disk. As you can see, no, I can't. The orange ampule next to the terabyte disk. And he's like, there's an ampule. Ah. I don't know what is that. I don't think what is that is the best translation, whatever. Anne. Okay, so why is there one ampule left? So you put the Trent. I put have like this button in the wrong spot here. Whoops. Gotta get it to the right part of the screen here. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. I have a button that to push and it was on the wrong monitor. I realized for efficiency. I hold the ampule in my hand and hold it up in front of me. Yeah, we had this discussion. I think the original on the Sora Route, which I think I am in right now, Tsugumi just takes the ampule because that's easier than just explaining, or it's more convenient than to explain. Suddenly, a question mark surfaces. Huh? You also turned around from the terminal. Oh. The boy, for some reason, cares. The boy's like, wasn't that one for Coco? No, because I think in this one... Oh, that's another difference I forgot to note down. In the original, they don't put an ampule... Did they put an ampule in Coco? Yes, they do. Or do they not? Whatever. They do put it... They already put... It got me all like, they didn't need an ampule for Coco. They remember, explicitly in the remake, I know they put an ampule in Coco. The boy also looks back. Someone never showed symptoms. Everyone's eyes are on the one orange ampule in my hand. Then his gaze, or my gaze, shifts to Tsugumi. Tsugumi pause.
何言ってるのよ。
What? What are you talking about? So is there like a pronunciation? Again, I don't know Japanese. Is there a pronunciation thing with this? Because this is like non, right? This is like E. This is like name, kind of, right? So it might be this might be like related to like a verb like to call. Like it's kind of like Spanish. You don't say my name is this. They say I am called this, right? You don't say my name is Stagulator. You say I am called Stagulator in Spanish. For some reason, that's just how they talk, right? Me llamo in my case, I'm masculine. Me llamo Stagulator. But they might do that in because I know saying what your name is in Japanese is weird, but I haven't been able a good explanation of why the structure is that way. It's like Stagulator to is just the to particle. Imas. So, but whatever. And this is the E, I think.
そのアンプルは個々の分でしょ。
That ampule is for cocoa, isn't it? It's not for here, it's for cocoa. Right? It's sono ampule ha or wa. Cocoa no. Okay, teshu. Whatever. I don't know how to pronounce this line. With the slightly clouded face, Tsugumi mutters.
ねえ、つぐみ、私、あなたに注射をまだしてないわよね。
Tsugumi, I haven't injected you yet, have I?
それが、どうしたっていうの？
What's wrong with that? Looking away, Tsugumi mutters.
個々に初めに注射して、少年と倉成に注射して、その後私が注射されて。
First they injected Coco, then they injected the boy and Kuranari. Then I did. Then you injected me.
だから、5つあったアンプルは、1つだけ残ってる。
Tsugumi already said what's wrong with that. You don't need to explain it more. So only one ampule is left out of 5. Standing up from in front of the terminal, you told her with a stern look on her face.
つぐみ、体調はどうなの？
Tsugumi, how are you feeling?
辛くないの？
Isn't it hard? Probably not the best translation in this context. I'm pretty sure it's a legit translation in a different context. You never saw her cough up blood, you. Trying to think of it, Tsugumi has no symptoms. For some reason, the Tiefblau virus symptoms that were present in us did not appear in Tsugumi, and only in Tsugumi.
スキャンを受けてつぐみ、今すぐに。
Oh. Scan Tsugumi, now! That's probably what that's supposed to be. They're gonna be like, no, don't scan me. Not in this timeline. Not in this route. This is not the route I get scanned in. Unless they decide to change it in the remake. You stares at Tsugumi with a serious expression.
嫌よ。絶対に嫌。それに私は平気よ。なんともないわ。
See if we get this Tsugumi and you cat fight. In which case you might actually see you just get beaten up. I don't care and I'm fine.
だからよ。つぐみにはティーフブラウンの症状は出ていない。そう。つぐみにだけ。
So that's why Tsugumi does not show any symptoms of Tiefblau. Only Tsugumi.
何が言いたいのよ。
What are you talking about, right? Yeah, or what are you trying to say? Tsugumi looks at you with a wary gaze.
まだティーフブラウンの潜伏期間は1日あるけど。
You might be on the wrong track here. There's still a day of incubation for Tiefblau, but...
でも、ひょっとしたら、つぐみにはティーフブラウンに対する抗体がすでにあるのかもしれないわ。
Like, remember her miraculous healing and why it has something to do with this, but maybe, just maybe, Tsugumi already has antibodies against Tiefblau. When did you get infected with Tiefblau then? Like, when would she? Oh, they're gonna go after... Oh, no. What are antibodies? I've never heard of that. I'm stupid.
お願い。だからスキャンを受けてつぐみ。みんなが助かる可能性が、希望が見つかるかもしれないから。
Please, so take the scan, Tsugumi. There's a chance that everyone could be saved. That hope can be found.
嫌よ。
How many antibodies does it take? Oh, they're doing this in the Sora route, which is weird. Anyway, Iayo. It's like they combine the routes together. No. Maybe it's just she refuses in this route and she doesn't in the other or something. Why, Tsugumi? Don't you want to save Coco and everyone else? Isn't that why you came to IBF? No, it's not why she came to IBF, in fact.
私は。
Watashi wa, which is I.
私は。
I again, but slower. Tsugumi's face wanders. Or eyes wander. Okay, it's, yeah, Tsugumi's eyes wander. It got turned into month. So it's like Tsugumi's month wanders. It's to translate to moon. I felt that her gaze was looking at us, but was not looking at us, but at some relic. Soshite, which is again is then, okay. Tsugumi's gaze stops at the pod containing Coco.
わかったわ。
You played the Coco card. Okay. She's actually going to get scanned in this route. Well, this is a development. Tsugumi closed her eyes as if in contemplation.
私も偽善者ね。
I'm a good guy too, except this thing, which translates into hypocrite, got mis OCR'd. So I believe it's probably I'm a hypocrite too, is what it's gonna say, if we're accurate. Okay, let's see if the backlog will help me here on this one line. Yeah, I'm a hypocrite too. Okay. In a small voice, Tsugumi mutters something like that, and headed to the L-E-M-A-R-E with a look of determination on her face. Then the diagnostic results appear. The name displays, the disease is displayed, and the name of the disease is not T-Flow. It's what? Oh, I was wrong. Oh, it was not. It's just a Japanese. It was not T-Flow 2017, revision 17. It was displayed there. Cure virus P carrier. They don't put that little accent there, like in the Never17 translation, because it's a French word. It's not cure, it's cure, it's French.
Cure.
It's like, exactly like you said it just now in your voice line. Cure. But the characters don't know what this is. Oh, but you does because... What's his name? Dr... What was, what's Izumi's dad's name again? Anyway, Izumi's dad told her about Cure, right? She didn't have to look it up in the data. So you already knows about Cure then. Okay. If we take, like she did in the original, she knew Izumi's dad, and Izumi's dad knew about Cure. Yuma is looking at the LEMARE diagnostic results and accompanying data.
一度だけ聞いたことがあったけど、それも都市伝説のような話として。
I had only heard of it once, but it was also as a legendary story about a club city. Well, this symbol here is wrong. Going from here to here. I'm hiccuping again. That's the one that seems wrong, though. I'll hit this again on the backlog.
でもまさか、つぐみがキュレイのキャリアだったなんて。
I never thought. I didn't know that Tsugumi was a carrier of the Cure. The carrier of legend. But you saw the rectal ceiling thing. But maybe it's like the legend of the city is like a specific story she's referencing, and it's just a story, and it's not. It only makes sense of it if we knew that story. They're familiar with Japanese stories.
でも、これではっきりしたわ。つぐみにはティーフブラウウイルスの抗体があるのよ。
But now it's clear Tsugumi has antibodies for the T-Flow virus.
希望はあったのよ。これで全員助かるわ。
Yeah, but she also has the Cure virus. There was hope. Now we can all be saved.
この診療室の奥に簡単なラボがあるの。
We have a simple lab in this infusion of the treatment room. Okay.
遠心分離機のついたアンプル生成用のマシンも備えられてる。
It's also equipped with a machine for ampule purification with a centrifugal separator.
あれなら素早く正確にティーフブラウ抗体を抽出できるはず。
that kind of how they say it in Japanese? Centrifugal separator. In English, you just say centrifuge. And that's it. That's just it. It should be able to extract the Tief Blau antibodies quickly and accurately.
ティーフブラウをスキャンで見つけられるんだから、きっと抗体もスキャンで見つけ出して抽出できるはずよ。
If we can find Tief Blau in a scan, we should be able to find the extract and get antibodies in the scan. Yeah, but you just did the scan. You told them in a low voice, trying to remain calm.
どんな影響が出るかはわからないんだから。
Meanwhile, I skip. Thank you, Tsugumi. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tsugumi. We found hope. And Tsugumi's like, but like, how do you know all this? And like, no. And wow, it somehow still didn't do Tsugumi. It's too early to say thank you. Because I didn't do it. I didn't do it yet. You never know how it's going to affect you.
それに見つかったのは希望じゃないかもしれないんだから。
Right, Kirei affects everyone differently. Might not. You found hope. Found it hope. It might not be. And the salaries. No. Put their hope in the antibodies. The characters turn into salaries. That was a lot of ellipses. We're gonna skip this. For a while after that, my consciousness wandered into the void. Oh, they did it? What? I don't know the time. Did they do it or not? Did they do the antibody thing or not? I couldn't tell whether it was a dream or reality. I'm alive? I don't know. Am I dead? Why am I and what am I thinking it? Where am I that I am thinking like this? You are in Himmel. No. I'm here above the clouds. In the sky. Okay, I see to understand this, right? It's like, this here, no, it tends to be kind of possessive. But it can be kind of like, in the... It's kind of, but it's possessive like more generally, like... It's like the sky's inside. The inside that belongs to the sky. Like, the sky apostrophe S inside. Right, it's inside the sky. The clouds apostrophe S above. Right, the clouds is above. It's above the clouds, right? Yes, the sky. Helping Sora. Oh. So you skip the whole like fight over antibodies. They just kind of like... There's something about helping. It's like helping in some scattered kana. Awakening from slumber. Did they do the antibody thing or not? Hard and cold to the touch. I found myself propped up on the floor, asleep. Slowly raised my body. I try to hold or open my hand. My hand. No difference. Interesting. I shake my head. I slap my cheeks, except I get like bad duplicated. As I inhale and exhale the deep cold air, my stagnant mind was cleaned out. Hands on the floor, lifting the still heavy and aching body. My footing was somewhat dazed or dodgy, but I managed to stand up. I find some used small syringes lying on the floor. Oh, great. You're supposed to put them in the biohazard sharps bin. The red bin. Come on, you. Follow protocol. Speaking of which, I have a brand new injection mark on my arm. Oh, the antibodies? Okay. So they did do it. It appeared that the inoculation of antibodies had been successfully performed. They have the machine to do it too, which makes things more sense. I recall the memories of it as if tugging at them. But it did it off screen, which is funny. The ampule purified by you was received by Tsugumi and can be found at They gave all the characters injections. It came from Tsugumi or something. And then look around the clinic room. So the only one who didn't get the injection was Coco. And okay, I remember, this is why I was thinking that. Coco was the one who doesn't get injected with the antibodies. A boy was slumped over, leaning against Coco's pod. Yu was probably like face down on the desk, right, on the control panel. He seemed to be unconscious, but his color was returned a little. I think this is the part where you get like the Coast Guard, right? Yu threw her beautiful body on the Suku and slept. I think it's just supposed to be body, but this got turned into beautiful, which made this weird. He looked somewhat distressed with night sweats, but appears to be over the pass. Okay. Japanese expression. Cross the mountain range. Meantime, Tsugumi was sitting in a chair in a remote location, holding Chami in her hand and giving him nuts. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the Coast Guard. With static drowning out my voice. Oh. Please respond. What's that? Nanka something. I heard some noise. Remote earphones from ears. Well, no symbol mess up, so... Sure, that's part of the best translation, though. Yawn. Please respond. It's not a malfunction of the earphone. Oh, it's in his earphones. No, it's not. It's from, well... It's like earphone, right? Earphone. I put my earphone on again. Please respond. Man, these guys are persistent. I would have given up by now. Area 4. EBF Area 4. Please respond. Wait for the translation, but yeah, it's supposed to be EBF Area 4. Please respond. Yeah. Remember, this is often pronounced hone right here. This little symbol. That's why you saw that hone. I mean, there's like a lot of kanji here that are complicated. It's like, this is above. This I recognize, but I don't know what it is exactly. Kind of reminds me of Mother, but I think Mother has like lines inside the boxes. This kind of looks like woman, but it has like a hat on it, so it's not woman. Yeah, and this is like origin. I'm having a hard time translating this line for some reason. There's no percents in it, come on. Excuse me. This is the Coast Guard Special Rescue Team headquarters. There we go. Translate to Maritime Defense Force in the original for some reason. Coast Guard's hard to translate, apparently. Instructions were given from Incel Null. Come on. Speaker? Oh, speaker. Someone is talking on the speaker. Speaker. Someone's voice is coming from the terminal. Speaker. I think they might be calling my internet or something right here. Sorry, I rushed over to the terminal and operated the panel. Moshi. Something like that. Hello? I presume this is like, this is EBF Area 4 terminal coming in. This is EBF Area 4 medical office, please come in.
EBF Area 4 医務室か。こちらインゼルヌ管制室海上保安庁特殊救難隊本部。
Okay, it's gonna say it's the Coast Guard again. It has a hard time translating. Oh, here we go. Area 4 medical office. This is Incel Null control room. Coast Guard Special Rescue Team headquarters.
こちらの通信が聞こえるか。
The Coast Guard knows about EBF. Can you hear us? Yes. Okay, I am proud of you. Which is not like a symbol messed up, so it's just probably an unfortunate way to translate that. Somehow I managed to squeeze my voice out to answer. Then I heard a thud over the speakers.
これから大至急救難隊を向かわせる。エリア4のプールは使用可能か。
We will send a rescue team there as soon as possible. Can we use the pool in Area 4? Wow, we haven't seen the pool in Area 4 in the remake. Ooh. That's what my
マ
question.
ップを調べればすぐ見つかるはずだ。我々はエリア4のプールからそちらへ入る。
I mean, we saw it in the original. There, the pool was where the pool room is where the elevator led down to, but they haven't seen this in the remake. If you check the facilities map, you should be able to find it easily. We entered there from the pool in Area 4.
要救助者の場所と数はわかるか。
Do you know where and how many people need rescuing? 5 people. No, 6 people. Diagnostic fistula room. 6. 5. No, 6, right? 5 in the first aid room, and then no 6, right? Because there's PP or Sora or whatever you want to say. I cleared the number of in the number the researcher who died in the capsule. Okay, that's interesting, but he's dead.
6名だな。了解した。
Name understood.
人間サルベージ機関の深海潜水艇にこちらの救難隊員が搭乗している。到着次第指示に従って脱出してくれ。
Yeah, the original is ambiguous who the 6th person he included was. What Takeshi was thinking. A rescue team member is aboard at a deep sea submersible belonging to a private salvage organization. Please follow the instructions to get out as soon as we arrive, or he arrives. When will you arrive?
できるだけ急がせるが約1時間後になる。
1 hour, right? I'll try to hurry as much as I can, but it'll be about an hour. 1 hour to get Sora. But by that time, Coco should be able to get out of the pod. Then she's already out of the pod and off in the hole somewhere. Until then, I hope everyone is safe.
だが万一の際には
But when you go up, you will be able to do so in one. Okay?
研究所内に残されている深海探査用の潜水艇があるはずだ。
Well, it's not up.
竜の支柱強度はすでに限界を超えている。
Okay, it's not actually up, though. Let me try to correct that. Yeah, it's... But in case of emergency... Oh, it's gonna be the other sub... Oh... There should be a submersible for deep sea exploration left in the Institute. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to make a choice. But this one we didn't charge the batteries of. Oh, why is all that extra symbol stuff? Gee whiz. This should be like, what do you mean though in the end? Oh, well, why is it having so much trouble? There we go. Basically, it's what do you mean? I mean, this is not supposed to be... It's supposed to be like emergency, it turned into caw, turned into strength. Emergency? What kind of emergency is probably what it would be translated to. Why would there be emergency? Lemu's gonna collapse and it could put their submarine in danger, right? The strength of Lemu's propping has already exceeded its limits.
もしも一部分が崩壊するようなことにでもなれば、どこかのエリアが崩落し、研究所が破壊される危険がある。
If a section were to collapse, there's danger that some area will collapse and destroy the Institute.
いずれにしろ重量のある破片が落下し、研究所上部にぶつかることが予想される。
In any case, heavy debris are expected to fall and hit the top of the lab. Right, to make it clear that IBF doesn't necessarily going to implode, it just probably will get crushed. Different than the original, I just kind of assume IBF is also going to go with Lemu, and it just doesn't. They're just wrong. Why would I translate this? Taruhodo. Ta. Or something like that. I forget what this is. I think this is Ru, this is Ho, and this is like toe, but there's a little thing makes it into a dough. But I won't translate that. Oh, I see what you're getting at.
もちろんこのような事態になる前に迅速な救助が行えるよう我々も最善を尽くす。
Of course, we'll do our best to provide a quick rescue before such a situation arises.
必ず救助に向かう。もうしばらく待っていてくれ。
That sub will not be used in this route, right? Because I'll be on my way to Dansuke. Please wait for a while longer. So the big thing I noticed, I was thinking about this, so I was like, okay, well, in Scooby Route, he has to use the sub because he doesn't get back from saving Tsugumi until after the sub did this rescue mission thing, right? Until the Coast Guard did the rescue mission. However, here's the rub. Why does Tsugumi go back up? Because Chami, right? Well, we see in this Sora route that Tsugumi has Chami with her because it says Tsugumi is playing with Chami in the corner in the narration. So she doesn't forget Chami, at least in this route, in this remake. Maybe they improved that. Maybe they got rid of that nonsense. Yay, no more static. Except I had forgotten it was there, because it kind of blended into the background as white noise. Tune. Putsu. Then, abruptly, the communication ceased. Lots. Yo, anyway. Hey, wait a minute. You have an hour, Takeshi, to go get Sora's files. You better hurry. I tapped the call key on the banner several times, but there was no response. Tsugumi's awake, though. But he's gonna don't leave me alone, Takeshi at him? Can't open the line from here. This is okay, this is that it can't be helped thing.
どうやら重い腰を上げて向こうから助けが来るみたいね。
So, it looks like we're going to get some heavy lifting to head help from Doku. I turned around and saw Tsugumi standing there. They're like, yeah, I have 1 hour to get Sora, and then it's like, wait, but then I'm talking to Tsugumi, and Tsugumi doesn't care about that! Oh, the rescue team will be here in an hour, so we're all gonna be saved in an hour. Tsugumi and you, Sora, Coco the boy, Chami, Pee-Pee, all of them. All of them? Yep. Uh-oh. Ah. Then Tsugumi's face changes from the little smiley face to the little mouth face. Sora can't be helped by a rescue team. I have to go here and help. I have to go get her. I have to go do the file thing, which I haven't done, because I fell asleep when I should have gone and do it. We only have 1 hour left. Sorry, I'm gonna have to save Sora. So,
分かったわ。みんなのことは任せて。あと、万が一の場合の深海探査用の潜水艇も用意しておくわ。
it's like, unlike you, Tsugumi has bottom teeth. I'll take care of everyone. And I'll also prepare a submersible for deep sea exploration in case of emergency. Oh, Tsugumi does it this time. Thank you, Tsugumi. Well, then I'm going to go save Sora. And Tsugumi's just gonna let me go do it. If I don't come back before the rescue team arrives, just get out first.
あなたはどうするの？
What do you do? Well, I'll be up in Lamu, so I can just take the sub out, right? I'll ride the whale out of here when I get there. Ah! Doo! Suddenly, a low metallic sound echoed. Sound is from overhead. Electric sound is heard from the terminal, and a change appears on the screen. Flooding incident in Lamu. Lamu? Usury. Muzzery. Just go. If I don't do this, Sora. Whatever. I grabbed the terabyte disc on the desk as if in a panic.
偽善者。
Hypocrite. Which I don't know. I don't think that's the best translation, but whatever. So he goes to get us all out of here, but then he just runs off to save the computer at the last minute. I clearly heard Tsugumi's muttering in my ears the moment I left the infirmary. I ran out of the aisle, ran out into the hallway, corridor, whatever you want to call it. The floor is starting to vibrate, though. It's a bit uneven. Again, I felt dizzy. I stumbled and hit my body against the wall. Yeah, at least you don't get Tsugumi, like, being like, "Don't leave me alone, Takeshi!" Like, throws Tsugumi on the floor. Yes, the original was much more edgy. Okay, physical recovery is not perfect. Okay. There's a stumble to the elevator, right? First place, are the antibodies really effective and do they have any side effects? It's like, yes, they give you myocarditis. No, I had no idea. They shouldn't. 'Cause it's not like it gives you something to attack your cells with. Unlike some. Well, anyway. Still, I gotta go. Doesn't give you a reason to attack your own cells. I have to go. It's on the elevator. Oh, I haven't seen this elevator. Okay. I haven't seen that elevator entrance shot before. With all my strength, I reach the elevator. And he goes back up. It gets explosively decompressed. As soon as the door opens, I jump right in. I go up. Except you wouldn't feel... Like, I know they tried to, like, make you rise in the elevator as if the inside's going up, but if the elevator were to go up, you'd feel it be squished down into the floor. The lift that carried me up to heaven. Now you're being poetic, Remake. You usually are not. Why did I translate German? Why did I use the Japanese OCR thing to try to translate German? Why did I click that button? Tiefe 90 Meter. Which is depth. 90 meters. Because tief means deep, right? I was all anxious, but the elevator was going slowly. Yep, it's gonna eat up half an hour. By the way, did I mention that it takes 34 minutes? For Sora to return. What? For Sky, it's like a misread. The right kanji? Anyway, to return to Himmel because of destructive pressure. Because pressure. Oh, it took hours in the original. It's like, but they were trying to go from 12.5 atmospheres down to 1 atmosphere as opposed to down to 6 atmospheres. Still, it should take like half as long. 34 minutes uphill and 17 minutes downhill. Okay. Try to be all poetic again. That's 51 minutes total. Which means you have 9 minutes to do the copying. Just hope they're a little late. 1 hour till help arrives. Almost no time. In my impatience, the elevator carries me slowly. Continues to rise.
Tiefe 80 Meter. Tiefe 70 Meter.
A lesson in German numbers. After 34 minutes later, I was standing in Himmel. He goes like, Sora, Sora. Does Sora respond? I immediately call out the name of Sora and shout. Well, he doesn't need to go back down though, doesn't he? Doesn't he need to just go go out in the cosmic whale? Like, can't he just... Interesting. Anyway, I immediately call out the name of Sora.
Kuranari-san, どうして?
Kuranari-san, what is it? Or why? Okay. A nostalgic voice sounds and Sora appears in front of me. Yes, long time no see.
何やってるんですか? こんなところで.
It's like, but why are you saying long time no see? Why aren't you just go about your business? What are you doing here? I don't have time to I don't have to ask you that, do I? I'm back.
一人でですか? それで他の皆さんはココちゃんは無事なんですか?
It's like, you don't have to ask me. Oh, okay, whatever. By yourself? And everyone else is Coco safe? No. We're all safe.
よかった。本当によかった。
Oh, good. Is there actually like a thank God kind of phrasing in there? Interesting. Sora was able to save. EBF was able to save Coconuts because managed to save Coconuts because you taught us about IBF. Why are you giving this nice talk thing? Why don't you just copy her? So it's my turn to save Sora. Oh my goodness.
私を助ける
Takeshi's so unlikable. Just do your thing. Help me. You only have 9 minutes. The hero appears dashing. Oh my goodness, you. I'm not gonna read that. Because I asked you to do it in my will.
遺言
Will? Or you asked me to do. I showed the terabyte disk I had to Sora.
それは
What? What's that? Pronoun flub. Crazy. Can't decipher. American junkie. I've been too addicted to my pronouns. Pronouns. I don't know what's going on. Your father risked his life to leave it to me. It is a disc filled with feelings for his daughter. My goodness, Takeshi. Arrgh. Nobody talks like this. With this, I have a Sora backup. Which we'll put on a Android. Yes. Listen to me. Sora seemed to be crying. I wanted to hold her shoulders and comfort her. Which, for some reason, holding shoulders is comforting in Japan. But it was something I couldn't do. If you try to do that in the United States, people will be creeped out by that. It's like, so these are the Sora ones. These are the Tsugumi ones. Okay. Sora led me to the main computer room. Yeah, I didn't need to explosively decompress this time. That's lame. I like to make fun of the explosive decompression. In a room where the air conditioning was working coldly, there were large box-shaped devices connected to cables running in all directions. And like, I'll guarantee you that 90% of the volume of that is heatsink. Okay. I skipped a bunch of stuff by accident here. Okay, this part. Block-shaped device had a plate on it, and it was one written LMQS16. Oh, LM110 and LMQS16. One of those is Sora, I forget which one, because I remember Sora's like model name. Which is the main body of Sora. I am in LM101, optical combi putter in charge of facility management at the main computer in the Moon Sea. So you're the same boat as me. What? You are not a computer. Basically, I think of it, you're in this one. Yes, this is my main body. It is a completely non-humane quantum computer. Non-Numian quantum computer. Okay. which means you probably, because it sounds like because the cryostat. The prototype LM1, what is LMP in 01 is in IBF, which is where I presume Yoiki made the backup. The neurocomputers LM in 03 and LM in 04 are located at the facility on the sea. Okay. There's too many computers. Which one do I stick the disk in, Sora? And 9 minutes to do this. Okay, I guess I'm at the end of the backlog. LeMay is a computer system created by Lieblich Multiprocessing Artificial Intelligence Development Project. Okay, now he's calling it. Now we get introduced to LeMay.
多重並列処理型人工知能といっても、基礎研究段階の ① から12、14、15番台は既存プログラムに従い、メソッドに従った思考をするので、ノイマン型と大して違いはありません。
Even though it is called multiple parallel processing type artificial intelligence, units in the basic research stage are not much different from the Neumann type since they follow existing programs and think according to the method, which means they're pointless.
13番は初めての完全非ノイマン型として製作されたバイオコンピューターでしたが、ヒューマンエミュレートの基本プログラムが暴走したために廃棄されています。
Throw as many computing buzzwords as in this sentence as possible. The first fully non-Newmanian biocomputer. It is discarded after the basic human evolution program went haywire.
私は13番の反省を踏まえ、2番目に作られた完全非ノイマン型で、人のようにひらめき、思考する人工知能がコンセプトです。
How to go haywire? Just start killing people? Like Cain? I've taken into account the reflections of 1 and 3, 13, and created the concept of 2, a completely non-Newmanian, whatever this is, completely non-Newmanian type of artificial intelligence that can spark and think like a person. I mean, I think they make you reason and think. Do you know anything about LMQSS17? You said something about it being backed up to that model.
すみません。私より以前の機種についてはデータが残されていたんですが、その後に開発された新しい機種についての情報はないんです。
Sorry, I found data on the models before mine, but I don't have any information on the newer models that have been developed since then. Oh. I see. I get the point though, like, LMQS16 is Sora, right? So, LMQS17 is the next one. These other things like LM110, I don't know what those are. Those are some older thing, right? I look at the body of Sora, admiring it, okay? The Sora story.
恥ずかしいですから、あんまり私を見つめないでもらえますか?
Like the body is like the computer or like the mirage? That's embarrassing. Well, could you please not stare at me so much? I'm sorry. I turned away from the main body of Sora and apologized to Sora behind me. What a complication. Oh, so it's actually the computer. That's stupid. Okay. I don't know why I laughed at that. That was supposed to be funny, but like it wasn't, but I laughed at it anyway because I suck. So, what drive you to put the terabyte disk in?
はい、それはこちらに。
Yes, it's over here. Loud sound of vibration shook the room. What's going on? What happened?
大変です。メンテナンスルームに浸水発生です。
Maintenance room is flooded.
近辺の緊急火器壁は閉じましたが、コスミッシャーバルは使用不能になりました。
There's maintenance room for the whale, right? So the whale is no longer available. Nearby, the emergency bulkhead is closed, but the Kashmir Val is now unretainable. What?
どうしましょう。これじゃ皆さんが脱出する手段が。
Just keep copying. Just get the copying done. You need to go down to IBF. What should we do? This is the only way for you all to escape. Oh, he's gonna say that the Coast Guard's gonna get the others out of IBF. Don't worry, Sora. IBF has made contact with the sea, and arrangements have been made for rescue.
本当ですか？よかった。
Except for Takeshi. Really? Thank goodness. I'll be right back. Well, it's not gonna be I will be right back. Just thank goodness. Put the disc in Sora. Sora looked really relieved. Well then, I'll continue. And something else flooded. Once again, loud noises of vibration shook the room. Do you have the disc in now? What now? Large vibrations as they do, but the small tremors are still
今
continuing.
の浸水でインゼルヌルと3階層をつなぐ柱が歪み始めています。
The pillars connecting Incel Knoll and Level 3 are beginning to distort due to the current flooding.
このままだと eBayF と連絡しているエレベーター通路に歪みが波及し、リフトが使えなくなります。
If this continues, the distortion will ripple through the elevator corridor that communicates with IBF, making the lift unusable.
クラナリさん、クジラ潜水艇はもう使えないんです。直ちに eBayF へ避難してください。
Fernari, the whale submersible is no longer in service. Please evacuate to IBF immediately. But the disc is still copying. Do you have that disc in yet, Takeshi? Are you still talking? Okay, I'll go to IBF as soon as I load this disc. So, Sora, where's the drive?
クラナリさん、そんなことはいいですから。早く。
Oops. It's a long way down, isn't it? I have to go back up. I'm not going to move until I set this up. Okay. Sora says. Okay. Evacuate to IBF. Okay, she's like, where's the drive? She hasn't put the disc in yet for some reason. He's just talking. This guy's not quick. Like, can do things much faster. Even though this let's play doesn't make it seem like it. Not important. Please hurry ahead to IBF. Really, I don't have much time left. It's like, no, where's the drive? Just tell me, Sora, where's the drive? I'm not going to move until I get this thing set up. Okay. Did she already tell you where it goes? I mean, I stare at Sora with a blank expression on my face. Well then. He's about to head to IBF. At that time, driver got spit back out. There's a mechanical noise. The disc was pushed out of the slot. Cool. Or did it get rejected? Oh, that's what's going on.
振動です。振動のせいでドライブがディスクを読み取れず弾いてしまうんです。
It's the vibration. The drive can't read the disc because of vibration and it pops. Then Sora has no substance, therefore Sora cannot push the disc into the slot by itself.
振動が収まるまでディスクを読み込むことはできません。
Till the vibration stops, the disc cannot be read.
この振動はしばらく収まりそうもありません。私のことはもういいですから、早く EBF に向かってください。
The vibration is not going to stop for a while. Enough about me. Please head to IBF as soon as possible. Then what about Sora? I'm not always being saved by Sora. I'm always being saved by Sora, and I can't do anything for her. And Sora's always helping me, and I can't do anything about it. Whatever.
そんなことはありません。倉成さんに言葉で言い表せないようなものをいただきました。それに最後に倉成さんと会えただけで私は十分なんです。
I don't think so, Mr. Karanari. Gave me something that I cannot express in words. Besides, just meeting Mr. Kar at the end is enough for me.
ですから早く倉成さんにもしものことがあったら私。
I'll be back soon. If anything happens to Mr. Karanari, I'll be... How will you be back exactly? Sora pleaded tearfully. I'm not going back. We knew the risk. Besides, as long as these vibrations stop, we will be able to save Sora, won't we? I've been shaking a lot in the past. It's been shaking a lot in the past too. It will stop sooner or later.
ダメです。戻ってください。お願いですから。
No, please, go back, please. Calm down, Sora. Keep going. Try to get through all this, because get to the point. Eventually, the pillar's going to break, the elevator's going to become non-operational. I need to get to that point. I said, holding up my hand soothingly. I'll be right back.
どうして私の言うことを聞いてくれないんですか？
Where's it going? Why won't you listen to me? I'm here to save Sora. I'm not going to move from here until I save Sora.
おかしいですよ。矛盾してます。
It's not right. It's contradictory.
だって倉成さんがこのままじゃ。
Like, if you copy the disc, then you, with the disc, get encased inside a bulkhead of Lamu that sinks to the bottom of the sea with you inside, you didn't really... What's the chances that disc's going to be recovered? Because Mr. Karanari, if we don't do this...
死んでしまうかもしれないじゃないですか。
You might die. This is like the substitute for the eyeball searing. Suddenly flames spread before my eyes. What?
倉成さん、火災が発生しました。急いで避難してください。このままじゃ焼け死んでしまいますよ。
Karanari, a fire is broken out. Please evacuate quickly. You'll burn to death if you don't. You'd be like, I know this is fake because you've done this before. It's fake. Flickering Sora in flames. Not at all hot. Sora, I know this is an illusion you show me. Some illusions are more interesting things. I was about to say that when I suddenly felt heat on my arm. Oh, is that something you could do? Rush to hold at my arm.
倉成さん、火災が発生しました。急いで避難してください。このままじゃ焼け死んでしまいますよ。
I'm gonna do chemical sprinklers to work a fire. I saw the fire smoking out. Please evacuate quickly. You will burn to death if you don't. Oh no, is it really a fire? But it was only my arm that was hot. The rest of my body was. It's so hot. Now the feet. Funny, that's too pinpoint. Sorry, could you please stop fake burning me? This is a form of torturing me. Keep up the axle. I don't know how you made me feel so hot, but this flame must be an illusion. This is kind of punny in ways. You can't do this to me. I'll never leave this room until I save you.
そうですか。では、わかりました。
I see, okay then. During the gift, the flames around the area disappeared. You get it?
それでは強行手段に移ります。
Then we move on to the forceful means. Sora? Let's give you tinnitus! The next time, a high-frequency sound that pierced my brain hit me. Ah!
倉成さん、早く脱出してください。脳に重大なダメージを受けてしまいますよ。
Mr. Kuranari, please get out as soon as possible. You will suffer serious brain damage. From sound? No. I endure grit in my teeth.
早く脱出してください。
Please get your arms out of the way quickly. Your arms? It was driving me crazy, and in the flood of the sound, only the voice of Sora was clearly audible. This voice was crying.
どうして脱出してくれないんですか？私だってこんなことしたくないんです。
Sora was crying. I noticed they slowed down the blink animation. But the slow blinks are really framey. Why don't you give me a pulse? I don't want to do this either. Basically, just why don't you leave?
もう二度とクラナリさんを傷つけたくないのに、助けたいだけなのに、どうしてこんなことさせるんですか？
I'm never going to let Kurenai I don't want to hurt you. I just want to help you. Why are you making me do this? Oops. Again. Oops. Okay. Because I feel the same way. I just want to save Sora too. Sorry, Sora. I'm sorry I broke your heart. Sorry I made you cry. But, phew, it's funny. Feel the same way about each other. I can't believe it hurts each other. And then the last bit. Heard a sad laughing in my ears, and then in silence the high frequency sound disappeared. And the vibrations had subdued. I slowly looked up and stared at Sora. Let's get on with this copying thing. It's gonna get so drawn out. 18 minutes left till 3 hours. Sora wanders her gaze and then stares at me. Then she opens her heavy mouth as if it were hard to say.
eBayF へのリフトが今の振動で破損しました。
Oh, she stops the stuff because EB elevator broke, right? The lift to EBF was damaged by the current vibration.
全リフトは使用不能になりました。
Right. So if he would have gone more than 17 minutes ago, he would have been stuck in the middle of the lift. All lifts are no longer available. So, in fact, that would have been a bad idea, wouldn't it? Inconsistencies and stuff. My strength drained from my whole body and my mind was blank. Well, it doesn't matter now, you're dead anyway. I see. Now you have to die, because you have to die in all the endings. Because she has to die in all the endings, that's just required. It took me a long silence to say that one word. Here we go. I don't think catfish is the right interpretation of that kanji. I'll get it in the backlog. Right kanji is there. I feel the warmth. Okay. Catfish. Softly. Okay. It's this kanji. Light. Okay, I learned a kanji. I will probably forget it. Just drill it more times to remember it. A long, long way to go. Togo-ri something. I feel like I've been through it all. The end of darkness. The end of a dream. Just soft. Just in the beautiful light I was. In the light I opened my eyes. More light melts. Okay, it probably should be melts, but whatever. It shines or whatever. Now everything's white. Hopefully the OCR still works. There was light in front of me. There was a soft smile in Sora. This goes to day 7, right? Got the CG. The back doesn't make as much sense anymore because the old IBF background from the original. It's like the original compression chamber in there, in here. I didn't bother changing the background on the artwork. Anyway, I like to do this for some reason. I like to make like a shot of the artwork by itself. Go. Not the full thing because it's like widescreen, so it's like cropped on the top of the on the bottom, but like cuts off her legs and the top of her head compared to the original. Okay. And then we put the translation thing back on. Sora was peeking into me like that.
おはようございます。
Hello! I think that's what that means. Or good morning. Oh, good morning, okay. So he passed out on the floor like he does in the original, right? The voice of Sora is near and will be heard. Okay, he's gonna go make the copy now, right? Hazy seeds scattered in my mind are connected by a single line. My consciousness was awakened at once. Toe pack up. What? Okay. Looks like it's over. This is, yeah, I forgot what this, this is like coup or something? Who? Up. Oh, back up. Looks like it's over. I looked at the words floating on the monitor screen of my terminal. Oh, it backed it up. Okay. Probably we lost. No errors appeared to have occurred, which should have saved Sora. It wouldn't have mattered. It would have taken you 17 minutes to go back down, so you would have been toast. You would have been toasted. I'm sorry, even if it didn't reject the disk. I'm sorry, but I'm glad I was able to save the Sora somehow with this. I can't help but sigh.
本当に申し訳ありません。私のために倉成さんが。
I'm really sorry for me, Mr. Kurinari-san is... I saw something shining in the eyes of Sora. Stop. It's not Sora's fault. This is the result of my own choice, so I have no regrets. I have regrets when things are a result of my own choice. I regret the choice. Have you heard of that? I've lived my life to the fullest in my own way, and I don't think my life has been unhappy. Oh, come on. I hate that. It just makes no sense to me. Sora doesn't have to apologize or care.
いいえ、違うんです。そうじゃないんです。
No, it's not. No, it's not. Not.
私
No,
は
it's
いなくな
not.
ってもいい。
I can't be gone.
消えてしまってもいいって。
I don't care if I disappear.
迷いもなく、ちゃんと覚悟していたはずなのに。
No hesitation. I should have been properly prepared.
だけど、みんないなくなって、一人になった時、
When everyone is gone, when you are alone,
このまま皆さんと、倉成さんと、二度と会えなくなると考えたら、
so she's referring to when everyone went out to IBF and she was left alone. I like to keep this up with you and all, and Kurenari-san. If you think you'll never see me again,
とても怖かった。
very scary.
とても寂しかった。
I miss you so much.
このまま消えたくないと思った。
I didn't want to just disappear like this.
倉成さんともっと一緒にいたいと思った。
It's confusing. I don't know how this translation makes sense, but I wanted to spend more time with Kurenari.
だからまた倉成さんと会えた時、本当に嬉しかった。
So I was really happy when I met Kurenari-san
倉
again.
成さんの脱出方法がなくなった時も、最後まで一緒にいられるって分かって、なぜか私は本当に喜んでしまったんです。
Even when there was no more way out for Kurenari, I knew I could stay until the end. For some reason, I was really happy.
倉成さんを助けたいのに、そんなことを考えていたなんて。
I want to help Mr. Kurenari, but I can't believe I was thinking about that.
私、偽善者ですね。
I'm a hypocrite, or whatever. Whatever this notion that gets translated to hypocrite in English means in Japanese, really, to Japanese people. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think so. Everyone is lonely when they are alone. Everyone is afraid of losing themselves. If you're human, the heart, they feel that way, okay? I thought I realized something in my words. Okay, so I was just as scared of losing someone close to me or someone I loved as much as I was of losing myself. Which actually is some way you should feel, but it's really hard to. So I wanted to help you guys out. Or wanted to help her out. Oh, by the way, did they all make it?
倉成さんが眠っている時に救助隊の無線を傍受しました。
Mr. Kurenai was asleep. We intercepted the rescue team's radio.
3人を EBF から救助して海上に帰還したそうです。
Okay, this is what's different. So in the original, they conceal that Coco was was left behind in IBF until the end. It's part of the final route information. You can easily assume she was left behind because she appears like a ghost in 2034. So you can figure out it's 2034, which is pretty easy to do. Like, it's not a very well hidden secret. And there's like this ghost of Coco, and the ghost is saying, "Come help me, come save me, brother." Then it's easy to tell. You can go kind of infer maybe Coco died, and that was just hidden from you. So it's not super hard to figure out that she died, but it doesn't directly state it until the end. Here they're actually stating it because it says here 3 people. So what are those 3 people? The kid, Tsugumi, you. Coco doesn't get rescued. Except I didn't bother to translate it for some reason. It's not like I read the Japanese or anything, I just read the 3 people part. Rescued 3 from IBF and returned to sea. 3 people? That's not right. Tsugumi, you, the boy, and Coco should be 4 people, but the numbers don't add up. They don't make sense.
無線の通信ログによると EBF 内に取り残されていた3人の救出中に何者かが深海探査用の潜水艇を使って脱出をしたみたいです。
Yeah, Takeshi said 6, which really confused them. According to the radio communication logs, it seems that someone used a deep-sea submersible to escape during the rescue of one of the 3 people left behind in IBF. And okay. And so, okay. And the other 3 people were left behind. So Tsugumi escaped in the sub and left Oh, okay. That's interesting. I could see why she would do that. But okay, so that's what it's doing. Okay, so they're doing that. Okay, but the trick is that one of the people it was for is the researcher's dead body, meaning Coco gets left behind. That's the secret. So they're still concealing that. Okay. Submersible for deep sea exploration.
わかったわ。みんなのことは任せて。あと、万が一の場合の深海探査用の潜水艇も用意しておくわ。
Alright, Tsugumi. I'll take care of everyone and also prepare a submersible for deep sea exploration in case of an emergency. Yeah, but she didn't go on her own for any other reason besides she didn't want to interact with the Coast Guard. That's interesting. Probably. That's probably... No, it's definitely Tsugumi. Anyway, this didn't save everyone, but anyway, I didn't save them all, but it saved them all. It didn't save them all, but it didn't save them all. I looked up at the ceiling. Oh no! Here's the thing with that. So, if you remember back to the original, the submersible runs out of battery, right? And how it continues to manages to keep floating up because Takeshi jumps out, right? Now you might go, okay, if only Tsugumi is in it, it doesn't need to pump as much ballast. So it could maybe make it up without running out of battery. There's only one person in it. Two, Takeshi's not in there, so when it does run out of battery, it can still keep, it has more buoyancy. But part of the reason why the submersible kept going up was law of conservation of momentum. It was implied that after Takeshi got out of the submersible, he put his feet on the bottom of the sub and pushed off the bottom, pushing himself down. Which, if you remember, no conservation of momentum, that's going to project the sub up. That helped, right? So without Takeshi in the sub, it's not clear. It's not clear that Tsugumi makes it out. You would think she would because of a lot of conservation of energy, because he's not in there in the first place, so it can reach a higher velocity and so on. But it's okay. It's not clear if Tsugumi makes it out. Then that's interesting. I look up at the ceiling. Now everyone is beyond that. Tsugumi. You. Coco. Nope, you were wrong. The kid. Or the boy is what it would be. I couldn't see them, but I felt like I could see everyone. I was at peace, and at the same time, I felt that what I had done had paid off. Even I'm a hypocrite for thinking that. Tsugumi is right.
みんな助かったんですね。
Okay. The ending words. Everyone is saved.
私たちを除いてですが。
Except for us. What, even Sora? I thought Sora was saved.
もう一人の私は助かりました。だけど、私はここにいるんです。
I mean, you copied her to the disc, but the disc has to go somewhere. The other me was saved, but I am here.
バックアップをされたとはいえ、それはあくまでも分岐したもう一人の私です。
Oh yeah, I'm experiencing the consciousness of who was not in the disc. Yeah, that issue. Even though I was backed up, it is only I, the other person, who branched off.
ですから、私はここにいるんです。
That is why I am here. I see.
でもいいんです。こっちの私は、あっちの私と違って、倉成さんと一緒にいられるんですから。
But you can escape to a branching timeline because you can do that, because, no. It doesn't matter because I am over here, unlike me over there. Can stay with Kurinari-san. Okay, so I, unlike the person in the disc, can stay with Kurinari-san. The one in the disc cannot, because Takeshi's going to die. It's unclear if PP actually recovers the disc. Yeah, it could be that the disc does get recovered because PP goes down to the bottom of the ocean and gets it. Unclear, though. Because that only happens in the Tsugumi route in the original. I took out my cell phone from my pocket and pressed the button. The battery is dead. Nothing showed up on the screen. Time to stay together. The time we have left should be very short. I'm sure there's only a little time left for us to be okay. I have to spend the rest of my remaining time with Sora. I wonder how drawn out this is going to be. So, I was like, to me, the story's done, right? Roll credits. Sora, is there anything you want to leave back there? I'll keep you company.
やり残したことはありますが、こればっかりはどうしようもないんです。
Frying version by itself. There are things left to return to, but there's nothing we can do about all this. Sora stares at me, her eyes are wet with deep sadness. So, is there anything you've always dreamed of doing? Anything you've always wanted to do?
夢ですか？そうですね。
It's a dream. Yes, it is.
また、あの続きがしたいです。
I'd love to continue that again. Continuation of that? Oh no. The scenery changes drastically. This is gonna be pretty drawn out. Yeah. They have to do this. The Sora in front of me has also turned into a school uniformed sister before I do it.
私は倉成さんの恋人なんです。
I think it's supposed to be classmate, not sister. The kanji got switched by the OCR. I'm Kurinari's lover.
でも、恋人になったばかりで。
You would say beloved, though. But I just became a lover.
どこかお互いぎこちなくって。
Conventionally, it's lover is the man, beloved is the woman. Because apparently women don't love men for some reason. It's just the way you talk. Doesn't mean anything. It's just the way the words go. Somewhere we were both a little awkward.
でも、一緒にいるだけで幸せなんです。
But just being together makes me happy. Sora seemed to be talking about her dreams through the world of a love simulation game.
毎日私が倉成さんを起こしに行って。
Every day I go and wake up Mr. Kurinari.
なかなか起きない倉成さんを呆れたりして。
I'm sometimes dismayed at Kurinari-san who doesn't wake up easily.
それから一緒にたわいもない会話をしながら。
And then together in idle conversation.
桜並木の道を並んで通学して。
Commuting to school side by side along cherry tree lined streets.
お互い手をつなぎたいけどできなくて。
We want to hold each other's hands, but we can't.
席は隣同士で並んで座って。
Seats are next to each other. We can sit side by side.
授業中、先生の話も上の空。
Class, the teacher is not even talking to you.
なんとなくお互いのことが気になって。
Somehow we've always been curious about each other.
気がつくとお互い目があって、そして顔を赤くして目をそらすけど、しばらくすると再びお互いに目が合う。
We notice each other, we look at each other, then we blush, then we look away, but after a while we look at each other again.
同じことの繰り返し。
Repeat the Goji thing. Okay. Because they got the wrong kanji, so just repeat the same thing again. Scene progresses as the sky, as Sora tells it. At some point, melted into the scene Sora was trying to tell, into the scene that Sora was trying to like show me. Sora was telling me a story.
そしてお昼には中庭の芝生の上で私の作った手作りのお弁当を一緒に食べるんです。
Should be like the scene slash story Sora's putting me in. There you go. And at lunchtime, we eat my homemade lunch together on the lawn of the courtyard.
倉成さんは私の作ったタコさんウインナーと卵焼きを見て、
Funari-san looked at the octopus sausage and omelet I made. Looks delicious, but did you really make it? Didn't your mother make it for you?
ちゃんと私が早起きして作ったんだからね。
I made it myself. Let's see. So let's see if I can poison it.
もう意地悪なんだから。
It's a weird thing to say. You're so mean, you know that? That was my embarrassment. Behold Takeshi Kuronari. I grabbed an omelet with a bamboo screen and popped it into my mouth. Fuck. Oops. Well, we at least didn't change scenes or anything. Sora touches me with a pounding heart, with a doki doki. Moga moga moga. Okay. The taste of a moderately half-boiled, moderately sweet omelet spreads out. Delicious. Was omelet the right word, though? Is this the Japanese cuisine thing that's actually, like, similar to an omelet? Really? Fake taste, though. It's all simulated. You did your best, Sora. It's very tasty. Mirage can mirage tastes, apparently. Mirage cannot reproduce the taste. That's interesting. Then what's going on here? How does that work? This could have been a taste created by my memory. Oh, okay, so it's fake taste. Placebo taste, but that didn't matter. The data world where Sora is the Digiverse. The real world I'm in. In the meantime, we create a plain world for only two people. Now that the stipends... Well, okay, what? That just there's just two people. Two characters are indeed there. After flattening my empty lunchbox, I lay down on the grass. The blue sky, actual sky this time, stretches out in front of me. The sky is okay, but that's just a that's a extra raw added to the end there. On a crowded day, the blue sky is always there. Blue, endlessly high, wide, and endless. Okay. So drawn out. I looked to the side and saw that Sora too is lying down and looking up at the same blue sky. Happy?
そうですね。
Confirmation? Yes, that's right. Or like, isn't it? I reach out and take the empty hand in mine. Even though there's no hand. The empty hand. I held the empty hand for sure, even though there was no hand, because it's all an illusion. We were embraced by the blue sky and felt a moment's lasting legacy.
3 Minuten vor der Implosion.
Okay, they're still using the same voice line. It's the implosion. A dull golden flexing sound is heard intermittently. Like, it wasn't collapse instead of implosion, but they're still using implosion for the German voice line. They're just relying on you not knowing the German. Which, I don't know the German, but that was a borrowed word in the German from English, so I know it. Mishi Mishi. I can feel the door and walls Mishi Mishiing and vibrating. From somewhere, an inorganic announcement is heard.
3 Minuten vor der Implosion.
Has it begun? It signaled the end of the dream. Okay, we got that original art again with the very interesting proportions of Sora. Then the flooding began in this room. Yeah, well, it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's very big compared to the rest of her. The evading seawater in a flash fills the room. The water level exceeded my ankles, swallowing my knees, and was already reaching my waist. Under such circumstances, my mind was strangely at peace. I skipped a line. The water level exceeded my... Okay. The glue ad was... Okay. Okay, I guess I didn't skip anything. Sora, are you afraid?
大丈夫です。倉成さんと一緒ですから。
It's okay. Guess Koronari-san is with me, or something like that. Then Sora gently loaded out the palm of her hand. That's the wrong kanji. We'll hit that again in the backlog. Held out my palm to Sora. Held out the palm of her hand. There we go. Do the finger interlocky thing. I hold out. Okay. Their hands overlap each other. Even though our hand doesn't like exist. But we gotta be all poetic and junk. Because that's good or something. You know, just like when we faced each other across the glass window.
不思議ですね。こうしていると倉成さんのすべてを感じます。
It's strange. I feel all of Kuranari-san in this way. Ugh. Me too.
倉成さん、
Mr. Kuranari?
Arigato.
Kuranari-san? Why do you translate Kuranari-san? Okay, arigato, right? Which is like, thank you. Yeah, okay.
私は幸せです。
I'm happy. This is just Sora. Okay, now we have the implosion version. Wait, I didn't have the translation thing up that entire time. I had it hidden the entire time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well. Hopefully I read all of those out loud. Because I sometimes, like, forgo doing that. Okay. That was a big oops. Hopefully, yeah, oof. Their hands overlap, and at some point they embrace each other's hearts. Hearts were in a plain world of just the two of us. I feel everything in the Sora, with my heart or something. I feel Sora's heart or something like that. The warmth of of hands embracing. Skin softness. Smell. I'm just going all in with these things. Things she doesn't have. Exhale. Heartbeat. Oh, and they have a background for the bottom of the ocean. I could get that back by itself, can't I? Remember to turn the translation thing back on. Okay. No BS. The, bottom of the ocean background. The original did not have a bottom of the ocean background. Surroundings are someday a world of deep, deep stillness. The cold sea water we embrace and become one. My body slowly ascended to the world where the sky and the sea melted together. The dream will soon end. I'm glad you had a happy dream at the end. We did keep it simple, though. When happy dreams can be found even after you wake up. The happy feeling stays with you. Not to me, I just forget it. I guess I don't have happy dreams. That's another thing. Human relevance become a memory. The remnants become dreams. The end of the world. What's the difference, really? Oh dear. Dreams will wake up someday, but I will skip. Happy dreams can be found. Okay, they leave you feeling happy. Apparently. Finally, happy dreaming. Glad you could see it. Okay. Good. Why did I translate ellipses? More ellipses. Copyrighted music. I might have it turned off. We'll see. May not actually play. So I guess the takeaway is that the game writers who wrote this, what they really wanted to write was like another high school dating sim, and they just didn't get the opportunity. So that's what they decided to write about when they remade Ever7. I mean, Ever17, sorry. Similar to the original Sora ending, in that Takeshi dies, it is different in that they sort of nail down more specifically what happens to the other characters. In the original, it's really unknown what happens to the other characters. They just kind of like, they're just left hanging, right? It's not clear. Oh, to OCR this. It's life forms remaining, I think. I don't think I need to. Okay, it's probably like that ending credit music, but it's off. Because unlike in the original, turning the music off probably turns it off. Yeah. And it kind of nails down that Tsugumi couldn't, didn't want to interact with the Coast Guard. Turn this paint off. So she left in the sub. Again, it's unclear whether or not so disaster happened when she left in the sub, because if you leave in the sub with Tsugumi, a disaster happens. So. It also changes very significantly that they inject antibodies in the Sora Route. The original they don't. And that suggests that the other characters end up dead eventually. So the Coast Guard goes down to get them, but they die in the hospital or die on the way up. The only one who survives is Tsugumi. If she survives. That can get complicated. I can't read these credits. Yeah, that's like the differences. Here Tsugumi donates antibodies. Tsugumi doesn't leave Chami back on IBF. She remembers to bring Chami down. And because, the original Tsugumi gives antibodies, but she does so only in her route with a fight, and there's some philosophy there, right? It kind of makes a deal out of it. Here they're just kind of more nonchalant. And of course, they admit the whole stuff about riding up the rising water in the central shaft nonsense. Like, they don't do that whole plan. I wouldn't necessarily know what to say about which ending I liked better about the Sora ending, because the Sora ending is just stupid in general. But I think I like the remake one's final last part better. A little bit, just a little bit. It's a little bit less irrational and crazy. Okay, then the gratuitous English time. The story is not an end yet because only you are Sin, the infinite loop. Not in Sin, the infinite loop, because we can't spell English. Okay, let me see if I can translate this with the OCR. Because this is going to be important, I feel. Sora Route. Good end. Exit the end of Sora Route. Good end. Okay. Sora. R. To. G. Gutsu. Su. Do. En. Basically, it's Sora Route, good end. That's all I need to know. Okay, I just... Clear list updated. Survey opening of clear list. Okay. Okay, so clear list is now a thing that someone unlocked, is what they're saying. CG gallery is now unlocked. Music is unlocked. I'll listen to that off recording. What does it ask me if I want to do here? I presume I want to do it, but I want to overwrite system data. If you quit the game without surviving, the data will be overwritten. Overwrite system data? Yes, I do want to overwrite system data. Yes. Okay. Let's go down to extra. Okay, yeah, here we go. So CG gallery. Okay. So the translation window. Oh, I didn't have the translation window back again. Okay, really messed up with the translation window. Gee, okay. So can I select that? Like, yes I can. Okay, can I pan over? No, okay. There's probably a way to like pan through these things. I just don't know how to do it. Oh. CG gallery. Okay. And then can I move? Okay. Yes, I can. So, okay, so I don't have to... The Sora giving the intro spiel, same as the original. Coco's joke, the first time we see Pee Pee, same as the original. The kid, Kagaraki specifically, being stuffed in the costume. Tsugumi in the elevator, except in the remake it's not an elevator, which makes it confusing. That's like the best drawing of Tsugumi in the whole game, by the way. Looks really good looking in that one. Sora saying, "Deep Blue, get out of here! Danger, Deep Blue." Isn't there a... Yeah. So... Tsugumi running, pulling Takeshi, just like the original. Coco in the, recompression chamber, talking to the kid, which is specifically... Yeah, was my cursor in there? Yeah, that was bad. Or a stupid cursor. Which happened to be Hokuto in the future, but we don't know that yet. Different version. Blasted a hole in the EI elevator. Water coming out. Sad flooded. A little bit different usage than in the original, but the kick the can with Tsugumi stuff. Their face really bright and glowing. Different background, but kick the can with Sora. Different faces. Getting crushed by the metal pipe stuff. More water coming in. Next page. Saving Tsugumi after the injury thing. Her in the bed with the cast. Multiple different versions. One with her not in it. There's a Sora, like, duplicating herself all over. They have all the versions, wow. Oops. Watering the flowers. This is probably... Oh, Tsugumi. There's more Tsugumi CGs? Okay, so these are Tsugumi CGs, but... We got a lot of the Tsugumi-specific CGs because of, the Jellyfish Gondola had both types in it. So, one of them has to be her Scar. But I don't know what the other missing one would be. That's interesting. Maybe there's like a new Tsugumi CG. So missing Tsugumi CG, they're missing Tsugumi CG. Teenager Sora. Teenager Sora again. Sora on the gondola like the original. Various versions. Makeup Sora like the original. This one. Coco drawing like the original, Coco falling off. Next page. The new one of the party with you looking weirdly svelte. Tsugumi also looking very svelte. Sora looking way younger. Yeah, this is from the second Jellyfish Gondola scene in the original, from the one we saw on the Sora Route in this remake. First Jellyfish Gondola ones in the original, but appeared after the other ones in this remake. Very... like, especially this first one. Oh, we don't have the one in the preview yet. That's funny. Yeah, only in the Tsugumi route do we get the smear face. Fake Sora. Various Sora versus Sora. The original Sora talking about lying. Probably some Tsugumi stuff. Coco sick, Coco being carried. This one. Which also, I think this is actually, like, from the Tsugumi route of the original. Yeah, when they're going back down, Sora looking back at them. It's not actually, like, used the same way. Coco in the pod. Also, the researcher in the pod. Used the photograph of you and her father. Some Tsugumi ending thing. Sora ending stuff. Sora ending like the original. Tsugumi stuff. You have to have the Tsugumi ending ones, like Tsugumi smiling interlocking fingers, bleeding finger one. The scream, the one inside the sub. The one where she's screaming at the porthole in the sub. The hash in the sub. And then these are all probably like the kid route things, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. B. Oh yeah, clear list. Okay. So we've cleared. Is there a page? There's no page. Okay, so let me guess. So this is Sora Gooded. I presume that this right here is Sora Tsugumi Collective Bad End. Like, that's what it is in the original. It may not be maybe different in the remake. That's what I assume it is. I presume this is Tsugumi Good End, You Good End, You Bad End, Sora Good End, Sora Bad End, Coco End, what is this? You might go, oh, it's like the epilogue. It's like they had like the post credit scenes, and those count as endings. Yeah, but like there's only one slot left. So that's kind of weird, isn't it? So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, this is the Sora good ending. Is what it translated to. Okay. Yeah, go to. We don't have any movies or free talk. I'm gonna look at the names of these, but they're not gonna be able to play them because they're copyright. So Incel No, Ersteboden, Zweite Stocklamuria Square, Kashmir Wall. That's what that track was. It's a really cool track in the soundtrack, Kashmir Wall. But it's like, wow, I didn't recognize the Cosmic Whale before. Quale, Carousel Dolphin, Weiserhund. RBF Not Fall, this is a creepy one. D flat, Golfsprung, this is another good one. Traumin der Dunkelheit. Hologram, Das Abruschke, Gott de nicht. I don't know how to pronounce that German word. One that didn't play. Okay, there's some missing ones. We don't have like this. We don't have the. This is the opener, I think. It's Lemuria. Yeah, this is Lemuria. I don't know what that is. Yeah, there's like more. There's like the metal one, and there's like the lullaby, and then there's like the ending music. So, excuse me. There's more. This is why it's question marks. Lullaby sang by Sora, Coco, and all that stuff. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this one. It's probably not going to be another one for a very long time. I don't know how they're going to be published. I haven't decided on that, but the recording's going to have a huge gap from here on out. I'm just going to drop this for now. I'll pick it up in like a few months or something. In the meantime, I got to record Remember 11, so it is a fan translation, so I don't have to translate that. And using horrible machine translating joke. So, if you watched any of that and watched me stumble through that and slowly start learning Japanese by immersion and accident, thank you. This was pretty awkward. I'm going to try to produce a better product next time and not hiccup so much. Bye.